Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 29 of the ReelTok podcast. We are almost at 30 episodes, which is just crazy. Each and every week, we just have a new episode. I'm just like, how is that number already that high? But here we are, still rolling. As always, we appreciate all of your support on the Patreon, as well as all our other social media pages. We keep trying to just up the ante every week, trying to get as many posts and content out as possible. This week, like all of our weeks lately, we have a ton of stuff coming out once again. We have, obviously, this episode here, episode 29, and then we're going to have a Patreon draft, which is going to be directorial debuts, and we're also going to be having a movie review on The Last Black Man in San Francisco, which, spoiler alert, I absolutely loved. Today on the agenda, we have John Wick 4 review, one of the more anticipated movies of the year that absolutely delivered. Going to talk a little bit about me seeing Dungeons & Dragons, as well as How to Blow Up a Pipeline. Going to be reviewing the latest episodes of The Mandalorian and Ted Lasso. We have a little trailer time today. Quite a bit of news and nerd news, so stay tuned for that. And then we're going to have a draft of best movie franchises with the release of John Wick. Figured we'd stay topical and go over all the best franchises. Before we get into today's episode, though, George, do we have a giveaway winner we want to announce?
Absolutely. So the winner, the giveaway for our March ReelTok giveaway, the winner, Patreon, right? You have to be subscribed to our top 4 tiers to be eligible. Every month we're going to do a giveaway. Last month we gave away Top Gun Maverick and Tar. This month we are giving away 2 graphic novels. I'm not telling you what it is. It's going to be a surprise when you receive it. And the winner is going to be Mac Wells. Congratulations to Mac. Thank you for being a subscriber and supporting us. I will get in touch with you.
Woo, go Mac! Woo!
I will get in touch with you separately on the delivery of your 2 new graphic novels. I picked them out, so you know they're going to be sick.
Awesome. Yeah, I can confirm he sent. I believe you sent the picture of the 2 novels to the group chat, right? Yeah, those are the ones. Yeah, so he picked some fire choices. So you're going to be very, very excited to receive those. So shout out Mac Wells. Shout out all the patrons. And as I said, a lot of content's coming this week. We literally are going to have a new YouTube video dropping every single day this week, which is kind of the case the past several weeks because we have the Real Quicks. Plus, I'm posting YouTube clips from each of these podcasts. So if you're not already, subscribe. Our subscriber number, slowly has been kind of, keep on climbing up. So let's keep pushing that forward. And then if you're listening to us on audio, whether it's Apple or Spotify, just make sure you can check our page right now and just make sure you're following the podcast as well as reviewing it 5 stars. That really helps us out a lot. We're trying to keep climbing those ranks. But yeah, we are going to get started with today's episode. However, one more quick shout out. If you're watching this on any platform, on YouTube, you'll see we have a different layout. Shout out Adamson Visuals. As always, he makes the greatest graphics for all of us. So we have a new little podcast layout this week. And then also, on Spot. What?
A new layout? This week we have a new layout?
We do. So none of you can see it right now.
Did we know that?
I didn't know.
No.
I mean, I was working in the background trying to get all these graphics.
What a Woj bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, Woj bomb. So we got a new layout this week. If you're watching us on YouTube, so check out the art if you're not watching us on YouTube. And then podcasts on Apple and Spotify. We have a new podcast cover. That was kind of a collab between Adamson and me. And this is kind of like a time travel because I haven't actually made that yet, but I will make it before this episode releases. So it'll be there. Trust me. Let's jump into today's episode. How is everyone doing this week? I'm going to start with Seth because it sounded like you were just having some, power troubles this morning or something. It sounded hectic over on that side of the pond. How have you been doing this week and today especially?
I don't know, man. Woke up this morning and we went shopping, which was nice. And then I got back. Power wasn't working. Who knows why. Had to ring them up. Time on the phone for ages. Stress. Couldn't sort anything, so I think we might have to stay at my mum's tonight, which is great. And then, 10 minutes before we recorded the podcast, I'm cooking. I haven't eaten today. Nearly set my apartment on fire, so it's been a really, really successful day so far.
What were you cooking?
We went to this Chinese supermarket thing this morning. And they were these, kind of dumpling things, beef filled. They would look really good, but who knows if they were good because I can't even eat them. Because they're in there on fire, black, literally black. So yeah, not a good morning for me. My week's been okay. Watched a lot of films this week. Obviously, we'll go over in a bit. Went to see John Wick. Unfortunately, couldn't make the Dungeons and Dragons thing on Friday, which obviously we'll speak about. Which I'm sad about because there was a lot of people who I know who went. But other than that, pretty good. Not really many complaints apart from today.
Okay, well, I'm glad you are not in ashes right now and that you're on the podcast filming this with us. George, how has your week been?
My week's been great. Another week of being unemployed. I got one more of those ahead of me, which I'm very excited about. I did better this week with watching more movies and checking more shit off my watch list. But honestly, same as last week. Another week of not working, sleeping in, watching movies, walking a lot around the city just to get out of the apartment here and there. Me and Victoria were in Brooklyn last night for Sophie's birthday. So if you're listening to this, Sophie, happy 24th birthday. And that's about it.
Sounds like a solid week. I'm glad you're enjoying some time off between jobs. Definitely like good to take a little break and enjoy life, but especially now that you're living in the city, especially too. It's been fun seeing you, tick all these things off your list. Cameron, it's been 1 week.
What up?
1 week post Purdue, 1 week PP. How are you doing?
Why? What the hell, man? I was better before hopping on this pod. I put that shit out of my brain. I don't even know what school that is. I didn't go to college. It's all fake. It's all relative. The week's been good. I feel like I've been like kind of down the past couple of weeks. So I'm here to bring the energy this week. I'm feeling good. Good vibes. My dog actually, she had like a mass on her lip. Izzy, she got that removed this week, so she has a cone on right now. They're thinking it's benign. They'll send it to the lab, so hopefully it's all good. But I'm gonna send y'all a picture, Tyler, and if you're able to throw it in the pod, that would be great because she got like a movie care package from one of our friends. And so she's all decked out in movie gear, and she looks real cute. So,
did Emma put this on her story? I think I saw this.
Yeah. So shout out Izzy. She's a trooper. But yesterday we went. Where'd we go? We went bowling last night, and so we put her in her crate. We came back, and the cone was off and chewed up to bits. So that's classic. It's been a good week. I've learned that I have a hater. Shout out, shit, I forget what his name is.
We've been knowing this.
Well, I didn't realize he commented on every video.
He comments
me. So
every time you host.
Yeah, that's fine. Shout out him. Thanks for the view. Fuck you. Have a nice one. Cheers. Cheers.
To add on to that, to Cam's hater, to bring some positivity to that side of things, I will say. My girlfriend says that you have the funniest TikToks out of the four of us. She says she loves your social media.
That's not even a competition.
And then, and then my mom, I was talking to her on the phone. She's like, she listens to every podcast, and she's like, the funniest person on the podcast is Cam. And I don't even think I remember her saying like, she's like, my favorite person on the podcast is Cam. He cracks me up. And she didn't even like end it with like besides you, my son, I love you. It's just like Cam Walsh Stan Club. So. Cam's got some major fans, at least in my family, so we all love you, Cam, and everyone in the podcast.
This feels like pity love, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Shout out.
I'm still indifferent, for being honest.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
I'm not fully there. We'll see.
Hey, I'll keep bringing the comedy, I guess. That's what I
if you love Cam Walsh, comment I love Cam Walsh. I want to see the comment section flooding with I love Cam Walsh. For me this week, speaking of Woj bombs, I feel like that's how my Letterboxd has been lately because I'm in too deep at this point in my Letterboxd where all my reviews have to be like 3 paragraphs because it's just like I've just done it this long. I can't just switch it up. So I
can't be bothered sometimes. I just can't. Yeah. Sometimes I'll just log films when I'm tired. I'm not feeling it. Yeah. Or I'll just put like a line or something.
Sometimes if a movie like requires it, like after I watched Under the Skin, I was like, I feel like I need to explain myself. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like I watched Don't Look Up, or like I watched 3/4 of Don't Look Up yesterday, and I was like, I'm putting in a Jonah Hill quote for seconds. That's it.
Well, if I'm rewatching a movie too, then I'll just like do like a one-liner or something. But yeah, basically I just always put out my Letterboxd reviews, or I have been lately. But I finally got all caught up, so it's like I've been like random points throughout the weekend. It's boom, here's 5 new Letterboxd reviews, just kind of dropping them.
Have you ever logged a film without a review?
No, and wait. No, I never have. I never have. But speaking of that, I don't think it's weird to log a film without a review, but I always find it really weird when people watch a film and don't rate it out of 5. Like, it's like, I know it's dumb.
Yeah, I don't like that.
It's dumb. We
I
don't
don't
have to
like that
rate
at all.
everything in life, but I find it really weird on Letterboxd, which is like a rating platform. Whenever people have like 90% of the movies they watch, they give a rating to, but then they just like, oh, I watched this for the first time and just don't have a star review. I'm like, what are you doing here? What's the motive?
To be fair, I don't put star reviews to something that I haven't watched in a few years. Do you know what I mean? If I've not watched it for like 5 years, then I'm like,
yeah,
I
but
don't
if you
really
just
know.
watched it and you review
As
it,
in if I'm logging it.
yeah.
Unless it's like a Mad God, George.
Yeah,
That's kind of like, do you know what I mean?
I didn't rate that one. A lot of people do that for short films, like they don't rate it. Like Owen does it all the time. Like Owen will log short films, but he won't rate them.
I get it for shorts. I get it. And then there's some films like a Mad God where it's like,
yeah, it's like, how do you even rate this?
Yeah, but yeah, everything else I will definitely.
For me, I'm always putting a number down. I don't care. I'm
I
one
do
way
the
or
same.
another.
Would you put a number on like a 5-minute short film as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think here, I'll go check. I remember I watched like a bunch of Adam McKay.
Yeah, you did put a rating on him.
Yeah.
I think I did. Yeah. I don't think I gave him like I don't think I gave them like an out of 100 review, but I gave them a like star review still. Yeah. So
yeah, every time I see you log the movie on Letterboxd, it has like those 3 lines that say you reviewed it, and I'm always so excited to read your review, and it's always just a score out of 100. It's never like It always bugs
mine.
me. Yeah, most of the time.
No, my new one.
Recently.
Older films you've logged, like when you first got
that.
Letterboxd. Every time I'm like, oh, I can't wait to read Cam's review. 74 out of 100. Period.
Yeah, I gave it a letter or a star review, but not a number review. They're I don't know, 3.5. Sure, good enough.
Yeah, I'm doing a number review every time, but my week's been good. Next week I'll be going to Boston for a few days for work, so it should be fun. Used to live there at one point in my life, so going back to the old stomping grounds. But yeah, with that, we'll get into today's episode. So first up, the big review this week, John Wick 4. Now this movie is like, I saw an estimate saying it's tracking to get like 110 million opening weekend, and I thought that, like, I didn't know these movies were built like that. That's just freaking crazy. So John Wick 4, George and I saw it like a week ago or something like that at this point, and then Seth saw it yesterday. Cam also saw it yesterday. So we've all saw it. I feel like it's the first time in a while we can do a review where all 4 of us have seen a movie, so this should be exciting. But yeah, so John Wick 4, just continuing right where John Wick 3 left off. It's all-out war at this point. And really, it's everything that people were expecting based on the other movies and more. It just keeps up in the ante once again. The action's crazier, the runtime's longer, the set pieces are bigger and more exotic. Like, this movie was just insane. So many side characters, so many action pieces that just went on 5 times as long as you thought, and that's not a negative thing in the slightest. So this movie was just a treat to see on the big screen. I'm glad we all got to experience it on the big screen. And I'm just, before we get into the reviews, if you are a fan of the other 3 John Wicks, go to the theaters and watch this one. Like that, there's no way that if you liked the other ones that you wouldn't like this one. And this is absolutely a movie you want to experience on the big screen. So let's get into our reviews. We'll start with non-spoilers, so just quick overall thoughts, and then what we gave it as a score. George, I'll start with you. John Wick 4, let's hear it.
Yeah, this is like the first time we're like really talking about this together, so I'm so excited. I loved it. This is the closest a John Wick movie has gotten to getting a 5 out of 5 for me. And when we get into spoilers, I'll tell you what is like somewhat holding it back for me from a perfect 5 out of 5. But it's exactly what you said, Tyler. It's every single John Wick movie just redefines the action genre. It's bigger, it's bolder. The set pieces are run longer. They're more absurd. The choreography is more unique and wild, and it's an absolute treat to watch. I say this time and time again, but the John Wick franchise has no business having the character depth and world building and lore building that it has. I think that adds so much to this story. It's not just action. It's not like, it's not like the Red Notice that came out last year where it's just an action movie with bland action, bland story. Stop. It's like they're paying attention to these fine little details in these movies, the Continental, this own unique monetary system they have. It's so much attention to world building detail and lore detail that I absolutely love in the John Wick movies. I think 4 is the best of the franchise. It could have been 6 hours, and I would have been in the theater the entire time, having a grand old time. It's my number 1 of the year so far. I absolutely loved it. Keanu Reeves is just better than ever in this movie. I still don't understand how this man does or at least does most of his action choreography. That's like nuts to me. But yeah, 4.5 out of 5 for me. We'll get into the one thing that holds it back from like a perfect 5 out of 5. And honestly, on rewatch, this might go up to a 5 out of 5. That's how much I love this movie.
Cameron, you saw it last night and you gave it a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't. This is a movie, so I'm not. There are a lot of people who are like, I'm not going to give a 5 out of 5 on first watch. I'm the opposite. I'll give a 5 out of 5 if I absolutely love it. I don't know if this will hold up. We'll see on like rewatch if it'll hold up to a 5 out of 5. But what I said in my review is, for an action movie, this is it's perfect. Like it's an action movie and the action is perfect. So I'm not going to take away like a ton from it. And like George said, it does well building the characters, building this universe. I mean, this movie obviously doesn't have to build it too much because it's already established at this point. But I think it has that universe. It has like a lot of things I'm going to say are a good enough script or good enough acting or good enough story. And then the action is just like some of the best action ever. Like Mission Impossible Fallout is one of those movies that kind of is like this, that did stand the test of time, and I still fucking love that movie. I think it's absolutely incredible. I don't know if this will. We'll see. I'd reiterate all the things George said. There are some flaws with it, but I think the action is just so perfect. I'm not gonna take away from an action movie too much because that's what it set out to do. And it's like, I really like the movie Extraction, and that has great action. I think this movie is like leaps and bounds better than that movie, and I have that at like a low 4.5, but maybe 4.5. I don't remember. And so I feel like I have to give this a 5 out of 5 at least for now. But I really fucking love this thing, man. It's so damn good.
Yeah, sounds
I respect the 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people give it a 5 out of 5. It's not like a unique take.
Yeah. It has a 4.2 on Letterboxd.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy.
That's so wild to me.
Sounds like Cam and George are basically in the same spot. George is like 4.5 could easily go to 5. Cam's like, it's a 5, but like wouldn't be surprised if I lowered to 4.5. So both of them absolutely loved it.
I was gonna say this later. I'll just say it now. I was gonna say it during the last Black Man in Sacramento review. I hate this 5. I hate that I'm now on this 5 out of 5 system, because like now if I get to like a 93, I'm like, oh, does it just deserve those 2 extra points to get a 5 out of 5? You know, when before I'd just throw a number at it and it wouldn't matter. So I feel like this could have been like a 93 or a 94 or something. And it was like, I think, you know, maybe it just deserves those 2 extra points to get a 5 out of 5. So sometimes my mind gets swayed a little bit. So I try not to do that, but you know, I hate being on the 5 out of 5.
You just created a new film, Cam.
What'd I say?
The Last Black Man in Sacramento.
Oh, did I? Sorry, San Francisco. Did I say Sacramento? Or
no, you just full Sacramento.
Oh, my bad. San Francisco. Sorry.
Seth, you're the newest to this franchise. You saw the original, you rewatched it, and then I believe 2 and 3 this past week were first-time watches for you, and then obviously diving into 4. So being the freshest of the franchise, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, so I watched the first one like I want to say like a year after it came out. When did the first one come out? 2014, 2015, something along those lines.
Yeah, I think it was
2014, yeah. And I watched that one. I liked it at 3.5. 2, me and Anna were watching this week. 2, I wasn't that big on. I'll give it a 3. 3, I really, really liked. To give that a 4. And then obviously, what day are we on now? Saturday. I watched it on Thursday. I watched it on the day it came out here. So 4, I think for me is the best in the franchise so far. 4 out of 5. Really, really enjoyed it. I think, like I can't remember if it's Cam or George said, it's if you're an action fan, if you're a fan of all that action, you can't really get better than the choreographed action in John Wick, especially the 4th one. I think we say this a lot, but bigger doesn't always mean better. But I think what these films have done is make them bigger and better, and by putting in new things. It's very hard to keep an action franchise going and keep it refreshing, but they manage to because the action just gets like more absurd every time. And I think a lot of people's complaints about these sort of films is conceptually they make no sense. But it's a John Wick film. You don't want it to make sense because that just takes away all the enjoyment from it, in my opinion. You know, you've got this guy. You've got Scott Adkins, killer. Is that his name?
Skarsgård.
No, Scott Adkins, the killer.
His name in the movie.
No, it's Scott.
No,
Scott
the guy
Adkins,
with the dog.
Killer. The fat suit guy.
Yeah,
he's called
guy.
Scott Adkins. He does a lot of like martial arts films.
He was really cool.
I loved his character. The scenes with him were my favorites. They were seeing like the club were just so enjoyable.
Bro, the entire action fight scene where they're like
he's
under
pulling
the
out
water.
He's pulling out like drop kicks and spin kicks and stuff.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
He's like 400 pounds.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed it. I think for me, the length did get to me a little bit. I think I said the same as Tyler, where it's like I like good action films. You know, I would compare it to like choreograph-wise the first Raid film, but I think the first Raid film I'd probably have a little bit higher because it is shorter and it does wear on me a little bit after a while. And it is, I don't know what you guys thought. I thought the first act in this was considerably the weakest, in my opinion.
I saw that. I saw Tyler said that as well, and I just didn't feel that. But I think it was a worse fight than the end. But like, I don't.
It's
know.
not even just
I'd
the
prefer
fight.
the end be better.
The first hour.
Really?
I was kind of like I was enjoying it, but I was like, okay, this might be a bit of a step down from 3. I'm still enjoying it because of the sequence still there. But then the second hour, when he came in, with the killer came in with his fat suit, so that was amazing. Loved that, and I actually really liked. Obviously, we're going to spoilers, but I really liked the ending. I think the use of like bird's eye view tracking shots in the building, so good.
That scene was so sick.
Yeah, that was amazing. I think the use of it's so maximalist in the way that they use lighting. It's just crazy, so in your face. And I think it really works. So I give it a 4 out of 5. I think it's the best. Same rating as the third one. But I think the 3 and 4 are like by far the standouts for me. And then 4 being a little bit ahead of 3. And even though it's 2 hour 50, it didn't wear on me that much. There was only points where I was like, okay, let's move it on a little bit. But I think what it did well is actually standardizing the progression of the story. It's hard to progress a story. Let's be honest, John Wick films, you don't watch them for, the plot is good and the world building is good, but that's not the main focus. And I think they actually progressed it really well across a 3-hour runtime, which is impressive in itself. But yeah, I really liked it. Obviously, we'll get into spoilers for a little bit more detail. But
sorry, Tyler, real quick. Did you guys stay for the post-credit scene?
I didn't know there was one.
I didn't even know there was one.
I knew asked me to.
I knew there was one. Like as I was walking out, I saw like a tweet, and I didn't go back. But I did. I heard it's nothing crazy.
Yeah, my parents went to see the movie last night, and after the movie, they texted me, "Is there a post-credit scene?" I go, "No," and then they were like, "All right, well, we're staying because everyone else is staying." And then they texted me, "There was a post-credit scene." I was like,
"Did they say what it was?"
No, they didn't tell me.
Anna asked me to stay, but I was like, "It's not Marvel. It's not gonna be post-credit scene."
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, "That's a Marvel thing. We don't do that shit around here."
Yeah. I don't think it was anything plot like.
I heard it wasn't. I heard it really wasn't anything crazy.
Do you reckon it was related to the ballerina film?
That's what I was thinking. Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe it was.
Also, we haven't mentioned Donnie Yen yet.
That's a series.
Yeah, he was great. He was really
Donnie Yen was so electric.
Shamir Anderson was my favorite actor in the movie.
I want to ask you guys, who's your favorite character in this one? Mine was easily fat suit killer man. Every scene with the card scene. It was amazing. It was so fun to watch. I loved it.
Any character that has a dog is my favorite.
Yeah.
Wait, who had the dog?
The Tracker. Shamir Anderson.
Yeah, Tracker. Can we get into spoilers?
Well, Tyler hasn't given his
so I give it a 7.4 out of 10, which is about as high as a 3.5 can go. I think it could go up to a 4 on rewatch, but so there's a lot of times where I think all of us feel this. You watch a movie and you might be a little low on it, and it's like you're low and you're like, I don't really know why people love this so much. And then same thing, vice versa. Sometimes you're super high in a movie, other people aren't. And you're like, how are people not loving this? This is not the case for me. I gave it a 3.5 stars, but I can easily see why people give this a 4.5 or a 5. Purely this is just because of my personal bias in rankings. I'm not just rating quote unquote objectively, even though it's fake or whatever, but it's just my enjoyment. True pure action films just aren't personally my favorite thing. So a 3.54 is probably the peak, something like a John Wick could ever go for me.
Yeah. But us giving a 3.5 or 4 is like George and Cam giving it a 5. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like that's the highest point we can go because we don't love all action films.
Right. So like,
And
as far as
really
like
good.
for what this is, I don't think it could have been done like really any better, except like a couple minor nitpicks and flaws. We'll get into spoilers, but I think this film was perfection on a technical front. I think the story was bigger and better than all the other John Wicks. This movie was very well crafted. I think this is a phenomenal movie. Just in terms of my personal preferences, this isn't my favorite style of movie, nor will it really ever be. So my 3.5 out of 5, which 7.4 out of 10, I feel like sounds a lot better than a 3.5 out of 5. So I hate saying like 3.5 out of 5, but it's not like me saying this is bad in any way possible. It's more just like my personal preference for a movie. So Bill Skarsgård I thought was incredible. Really love Shamir Anderson as well. Just I do agree with Seth. For me, like the first hour and a half weren't like the most insane thing I'd ever seen. Like I wasn't fully in love with the movie at that point, but then the final hour kicked in and got pretty intense. There were some things, again, like we'll talk about in spoilers, that I didn't quite love. But yeah, cinematography was the best of the franchise. Stunt work was phenomenal. And with that, we will transition officially into spoilers. So if you haven't seen John Wick 4 yet, definitely skip this portion. Go to the timestamps in the description below so you can jump ahead, because there's some mega spoilers we're going to get into here, more so probably than any of the other John Wick films so far. So we'll start with that here. So John Wick 4, we kind of pick up pretty much right where the third one left off, which is kind of the craziest thing about this franchise, is that there's not much time that passes from John Wick 1 to John Wick 4. It's just like, even though there's like years and years and years between these movies in terms of when we're seeing them, they just kind of pick up right where the previous one left off. It's all-out war at this point. Movie literally starts off with him just punching something, and that Dolby speaker is just like blasting your back.
In my ear.
Lawrence Fishburne is just laughing
So
maniacally, and it's just a hilarious intro. Because at the end of the day, these movies are silly, or at least in my opinion. I think this is the silliest one. Like they just fully buy into just this is gonna be camp like action to the max. Like the way it's just starting off with just the corniest speech ever by Lawrence Fishburne, like, he's back. I'm like, this is freaking the funniest thing I've ever seen. But so we start off with that, and I was going to say pretty much right away, but the first hour and a half, you get a lot of plot development. Like this movie, in 3 hours, so much happens in terms of progressing this plot with the Continental, the war that's coming up, the people that are out to get John Wick, the bounties on his head, all coming to a front with just some of the craziest action sequences. And then we get the final hour and a half at this point when it's a race before dawn. Everyone's trying to get John Wick and officially kill him. The contract value just keeps going up and up and up. More people keep going after him. Craziest fights you've seen in any of the John Wick movies. The action is just unrelenting, and it all boils down to a final duel conclusion. So I'm going to start with Cameron. Let's start getting into John Wick, your review of it, and start talking spoilers here.
Yeah, I didn't take notes this movie, so that kind of like throws out all the spoilers I have. But so I don't know where we want to start necessarily. First off, shout out Lance Reddick. Did you guys in your screening, did they have a little like
No.
rest in peace? They had one in mind, so
Really?
My screening was before he died.
Oh yeah, okay. Well,
What
so I was obviously last night, and somehow they got it in. So shout out,
That's cool.
Whoever did that. Yeah, he is killed at the start by Bill Skarsgård. What's his name? He's the
Winston.
No, Winston's Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen.
Or Ian McShane. Sorry. People's names are hard. He gets killed, and that kind of is what spirals this like Bill Skarsgård is just trying to kill John Wick, or he says to kill the idea of John Wick. Sorry. And that's what starts it. They go to what is it? Is it the Tokyo Continental? Where we get Hiroki Sanada, who is fucking awesome. Who I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty confident he dies the same exact way in Avengers Endgame with the little like slit through the stomach.
Who's he in?
Oh yeah, he's in the very short scene where you see Hawkeye just ravaging people.
Yeah, so I think that's like a callback for me and no one else. But I'm pretty sure he just gets like he gets the little like side swipe through the stomach where you don't think he gets hit, but then like He's bleeding. Yeah. So shout out that, I guess. So most of this takes place in London. Donnie Yen, we mentioned, is fucking awesome, but Donnie Yen apparently is just getting typecast as a blind man now, because he's basically like Daredevil in this. Just can fight, but is blind. Seth, you looked at me weird like that in Rogue One. Donnie Yen.
Okay.
Rogue One, he plays a blind man who knows how to fight with a sword or a staff.
Is Donnie Yen? Is he Ip Man?
Yeah.
He is Ip Man, isn't he? Okay,
Yeah.
That's the boy.
I also love that his name was Kane because he was blind and had a cane. So like, great. He used sorry, and I'm just rambling at this point. He used like sound devices, like that rang.
Just doorbells.
So fucking cool, man. Like a doorbell went off when like they would pass through.
Hilarious.
And it's like obviously like a blind person in real life probably wouldn't be able to guess exactly where they are with a gun or with a throwing knife. But so fucking cool in this universe, man. It was that was awesome. I don't know what other spoilers. Tracker, we mentioned Shamir Anderson at one point when his character is kind of introduced, and he shoots at Donnie Yen and John Wick when they're laying on the ground, and he misses, and it's clear like action movie miss doesn't. It's not something that takes away from me, but if you're a grade A assassin, I would hope you hit them when they're laying on the ground still. So that was just a kind of stupid moment I noticed. I mean, like it doesn't ruin a movie like this for me by any means, but I was sitting there and I'm like, I feel like he would have hit him,
That's it. Roll credits.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like he would have hit him, got his money. And also, yeah, he had a dog that just mauled the fucking people to death, and that was awesome. And they didn't kill the dog, but they did give one whimper when the dog got hit by a car, and I almost started crying.
There's no way that dog.
Every John Wick film, man.
Son, that dog got wrecked by that car. There's no way he walks it off.
Hey, man, that dog's badass, and I'm happy for him.
Also, the scene where that one big guy had a gun pointed at the dog, and John Wick had a gun pointed at Shamir Anderson's character, and then John Wick kills the guy instead. My theater erupted in applause because of that.
Yeah,
really?
I had a good theater experience.
I had
like
great.
People like
this is not like this is not a thing here.
A quick flex. Keanu Reeves was in my theater because it was in New York City.
Oh no, you were an early. Yeah, you were.
Yeah, so everyone was like, every time something happened, people were like clapping and shit.
Early screenings, people do that.
Yeah,
I thought you meant like a normal one.
Yeah, my theater was like uproarious the whole movie as well. Let's talk about.
I like a good theater experience like that. I know. Like I think Seth said he doesn't, but I don't know.
I don't mind.
It's kind of fun.
It doesn't. No, when I went to see when I've done early screenings and it's happened, I quite liked it. But it just doesn't happen here. Like it's not a thing that happens. Only time it happens is Marvel films where people laugh too loudly at shit jokes. That's it. That's the only time it happens. And I don't like that.
People were standing up and cheering when I was watching Banshees of Inisherin. They were so excited about that movie.
It was me. It was me with all the pension.
Personally, I've always found like anything like that like just corny to me personally, but whatever. Like I don't. It doesn't bother me. I'm just always like I've never been caused to cheer in a movie. Let's talk about some of the craziest action sequences that happen. So we'll kind of go chronologically. So obviously it's a John Wick film, so the entire thing is just massive action for the majority of it, but there's at least three main scenes specifically that I think were like the crazy ones I want to talk about. First one will be the tracking scene where you're going overhead, room to room, John Wick with a shotgun just mowing down people. I thought that shot, I mean, okay, like hot take, that shot was freaking sick. Like I think everyone's like, that's like the coolest shot of the movie. I can't wait for this movie to come out on like streaming just so like I can just like watch that. Like that's like a like an Into the Spider-Verse type clip where it's just like a small clip that I just want to watch like over and over. I don't need to rewatch this whole movie, but I just want to watch that tracking scene.
It's also one of those things, like this is the fourth John. Sorry to cut you off. This is the fourth John Wick movie. Like at this point, I came into this movie and I was like what more could we've seen everything from them in terms of action. What more could they do? And then I think this is why everyone's just like freaking out about this tracking shot scene, which they should because it was sick. Hot take. But it was new. It was unique. It just came out of nowhere. It's not nothing we've
surprising
seen.
they haven't done it before. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they should have done that before because it works.
Yeah, I mean they've done especially in the first movie, they've done like long one take shots.
one
But they've
take kind of
never
thing.
done like the
Over the
overhead
head.
tracking shot, which I thought was sick.
Yeah, I really liked it. Was that your guys' favorite fight scene in the film?
Well, fight scene maybe. Action scene, no.
Action
I guess all
sequence,
action scenes are fight scenes. I'd say not my
Yeah.
favorite. It's like my second favorite probably.
I think the nightclub one, where
Yeah.
they're like
That
in
was
the rain.
Easily my
like
first.
it.
Yeah,
nightclub
I think
one.
that made it.
I am a sucker for a nightclub sequence.
It's
man.
just
I feel
so
like
funny
it's
because
so
like
good.
again, John Wick has been for 3 movies straight. He's been going up against like in shape, fit assassins, and now he's going up against like this really
This big dude.
who's
He's
just pull-
big.
who's literally pulling out like drop kicks and like.
Like they you think they can't go more stupid, and they pull like a Street Fighter boss out. That was amazing.
It's hilarious.
I loved that so much.
Yeah, my favorite
correct.
action scene was actually the Arc de Triomphe part, but we'll get to that in a second. So the only thing like I can nitpick about the tracking scene is so for me like I know like so the type of ammo he's using is called Dragon's Breath. It's like something I've seen on YouTube a lot. Is in like Call of Duty games where like it's a shotgun that basically the ammunition will well it doesn't actually have to just be shotgun for Dragon's Breath. It ignites, so it's kind of just lights things on fire once you hit stuff with it. For me, it kind of took me out of the movie because like I get it, like he had the gun that did that with like the ammo, but then like the whole scene he's just picking up other people's like clips off the ground and putting them in, and like their bullets weren't lighting on fire when they were shooting him, but then every time he reloaded, I'm like, this is. And the thing is, no, it was the entire scene. His bullets.
No, he
were on
did
fire.
do it.
It was
Shot
hundreds
that
of shots.
a
that were on
bunch of
fire.
times.
Yeah,
And
but
they
it's
were-
not like the John Wick films are rich in realism anyway. So
No, but that's the only nitpick thing is people have praised these since the beginning of being like the greatest gun fu, like going with tactical specialists that are like setting up these whole things, like the most uber realistic gunfights. Which again, this is like nitpicky and none of my score got lowered because of this. But just for me, I was like, he's reloading with other people's ammo. Their ammo's not going on fire. Why is it all like the gun doesn't make the bullets go on fire? It's the ammunition. So like just like a dumb thing.
I did notice that. To be fair.
I was just like, this what's going on here? How is this
He was
happening? But
melting people with that one gun.
Yeah,
but at
super
least,
cool
at
to
least
watch.
At least these movies make an effort to like show John Wick reloading a gun.
They
Right.
do. He
They're
reloads so much, and I'm
so
like, man, how many
often.
clips this guy got?
But
But
I
at least
love-
he is reloading. I agree.
Exactly. Like that's like just it's so realistic for me. So many movies they just
This
rip
movie also
hundreds of rounds without one reload.
This movie also does not fall into the issue of like in a horror movie or something, they stab the killer once and then like halfway through the movie, they'll stab the killer once. And I'm always like, shoot this dude 10 more times. John Wick shoots 10 more times.
Bro,
man.
John Wick's putting
Bang, bang,
bullets
bang,
in
bang.
That's just all he's doing. the
He's
whole
shooting
movie.
people 4 times in the chest before taking their head off.
Yeah, he is wasting mags, but he does not
He
care.
wastes.
There's
gunfire
no
big time.
need. Even I watched the first John Wick with my parents. When was I home? Last weekend, and even my dad pointed that out. Like, my man is putting 3 shots into their chest,
into
before
their
putting
head,
one
like
into their head.
one in the head and then one in the face.
Like what a
bro,
way, and we wonder why he's reloading so often.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, I just gotta make sure.
the next action scene I want to talk about is pretty much right after the traction shot scene. So at this point, it's a race to Don. He has to get to, I can't remember what that building was, to meet with Skarsgård and ultimately go
the
down
end-
for
the
the
end
final
fight.
duel. Yeah, that final duel. He basically he has to get there before the sun rises. Skarsgård wants to avoid the duel because that's a lot more, 50-50 of his life or John Wick's life, where he would rather just have the problem solved before we even get to that. So he's sending every assassin in the city and the world.
What's that like organization where they're like growing in price? I fucking love it. Whatever it is, like that. You know how
Just
they're
like the
making calls and
assassins
they're
are,
like,
and they're just like upping the.
assassins organization.
Is there
I
a
thought
name for that?
I thought it had a name, but whatever it
Yeah.
is, so cool that they're just like, hey, price is up. Go get them now.
Yeah.
Is there
I
a
really
reason
like
all the women have tattoos and they all look the same, or is that like I was thinking this?
It's the
Is
aesthetic.
it just one of those things?
It's just
literally
the
just the
vibe of the
aesthetic.
movie.
Yeah,
Just the
it's just the vibe.
I thought there'd be like a hidden meaning. or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they start this journey. John Wick is trying to get to the duel, and it just leads to the craziest street race fight through the middle of Paris, going all the way to Arc de Triomphe, where John Wick's in a car drifting around people for
Yeah, it's
a
so
long
electric.
ass time, mowing people down. And
So
that scene just went on so long, but it was so electric. There were so many bodies getting hit by cars, car crashes, deaths, high-speed chases, like just the most insane action sequence I've like ever seen. That was my favorite scene of the movie by far. I thought it was so electric.
I really like that one.
I would love to be in like the back of John Wick's car while he's doing all that.
I would not.
Yeah,
I would slow down.
No.
My question was, I was going to ask, like, what's your favorite kill in this movie? Because there's one moment where he, at the very start, he gets in the car and he like is holding someone out the window and he does like a little donut and basically just like releases them off his car and just flips them across the like street. That was awesome. That was my favorite.
I don't know my favorite. I can't think of my favorite. Wow.
You don't have to think too hard. I didn't know if there was one that stood out.
We're in spoiler territory, but I love the Skarsgård kill where Winston was like, he didn't shoot you.
No,
that was great.
I knew that. I knew that happened. Like, I knew he didn't shoot, and I didn't love the like, oh, he didn't shoot, because I thought it was something you were supposed to notice. Maybe people didn't. I think it would have been cooler without the Winston explainer.
Well,
IMO.
The both of their first shots hit each other in the exact same spot on the arm.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that was intentional. But
I would have been dead.
But once I saw that, I was like, okay, they're doing something. Like these are two master assassins. They would have hit each other without question. One thing, and since we're talking about like this final end like big fight scene. One thing that really bothers me is John Wick has a bounty of what was it up to, like 44 million?
40 million, yeah.
40 million.
Why?
You're going to say what I'm about to say.
I'm just going to say, why is he just walking in the middle of the street?
Because he's badass, man. He's just going to get the kill.
Like,
he's going to win.
Bro, he could have like put his hair in a ponytail, put a hoodie on, sunglasses.
Take the suit off.
MCU
take a suit off. Like,
I don't understand why this guy has to wear a suit all the
got
time.
Well, to be fair, the suit is bulletproof. It's laced with
I love that. Like,
it's so damn cool.
It's the biggest, and we'll get into it in a bit.
It's not real, but like,
it's not real.
Awesome.
Yeah, but nothing. What's real?
Exactly. Like,
but like, I'm being dead serious. Like, $40 million. Every assassin in the world is looking for you, and he just.
I think this dude's worried about random assassins.
He's just walking down Fifth Avenue for no reason.
He's just that guy, man. He's got that dog in him.
What did you guys think of the staircase sequence?
Okay, that's what I want to talk about. This is, and I texted Tyler about it a little separately. This is the one thing that is holding this movie back from being a 5 out of 5 for me. And it's not particularly the staircase sequence, but it is most prominent in that sequence. The first 3 John Wick movies, with the exception of like 1 or 2 scenes in Parabellum, Chapter 3, I think do a very good job at making John Wick not feel indestructible. Like, he gets hit, he gets taken down, and it's very realistic. Like, he's very skilled. He's obviously like the world's greatest assassin, but he's doesn't feel like he doesn't feel like a Batman. He doesn't feel like a Dom Toretto, where he's just never gonna die. Chapter 4 pushes that. There were multiple instances for me where he falls out of a building.
That building is so high,
bro. That was like a 6-story building. The scene in the club, the big dude throws him off of the balcony and he smacks his back on a steel pipe and then lands face first on tile. And then the staircase scene is where I was really like, okay, they're pushing it. When was
it the first or second time he rolled down like 10
so
places?
Funny.
He just kept going.
I think that was actually like funny. He'll slow down, then he'll just leap off again and just carry on.
Yeah, like, that is the one thing. And maybe on rewatch it won't be like as prominent, because like I've seen the movie already, so maybe on rewatch it won't bother me as much, but that is the one thing that is holding this movie back from a 5 out of 5 for me. And
I was gonna say
I don't have a 100 rating scale, but like if my 5 out of 5s are like 95 and up, this is like a 94.9 because of how much plot armor, I guess, John Wick has in this movie.
I guess so. It's just like I don't know, but did you guys notice that when he's on the staircase and he gets like right up to the top and that guy comes and he kicks him off or whatever? Yeah. Right. How long is he on the ground for at the end of the staircase, right? bear in mind his bounty is 45 million, and they don't chase
Not
him
one
down.
person shoots at
Like,
it.
not one person shoots. He is on the ground. Him and Donnie speak at the bottom for a long time.
Yeah, not one person.
His
just
bounty is
sitting there.
45 million, and he just
Bro.
kicks him off. Like, you would go.
Also Tracker like saves his life at the end. No offense, man. Even if you save my dog for 40 million, I'm still gonna kill you. Like, I'm just gonna shoot you in the head.
At the end, where Winston is like, he didn't shoot, you arrogant prick, and then John Wick shoots him in the face. The what was his name? Mr. Nobody is just sitting there like, that was good. That was funny.
I quite like that too.
Oh, that made me lose it. That made me laugh.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's just sitting on the bench watching these
Tracker,
two people get rocked in the head, and he's like, that was funny. I like that.
Funny. Yeah. I thought that made the scene a little bit better because to me, I didn't love this the line of like, he didn't shoot, but then when he started laughing, I was like, yeah, that would be kind of funny if it all ends with that.
Before we get to the ultimate conclusion, just quickly on the staircase scene, I really didn't like it. And again, this is something where like it doesn't necessarily impact my rating, just because it's like, if you love it, that's fine. But this is like John Wick. He survived some crazy stuff, especially like George said in Parabellum. Like, that's where it started really pushing the ante of like, okay, we get it. Like, he's surviving some like 1v20 gunfights, but now we're getting a little ridiculous.
John Wick 4, we're surviving 7-story fall.
Yeah, this movie became like comedic in terms of how unbelievably unkillable John Wick is. For me, the staircase scene, not only just the falling down, but and for any action movie, you're gonna have to put up with stuff like this. But I felt like it was extra egregious here. The classic, there's 40 people coming after you. However, they're just gonna go one by one, shoot at you, walk down the stairs and get you. You kill them. It's like, okay, now it's my turn to try. It's like, this is the most
like in a queue or something. Yeah,
like in nightclub scenes, in a crowded Arc de Triomphe where there's traffic everywhere. There's spots where you can feasibly be like, oh, he's ducking and hiding behind cars, hiding behind other people. This is just out in the open, in the park, not even a bunch of trees or really anything to hide behind. It's just you're walking up a plain in the open staircase. 40 people have the high ground on you, which is just an even more advantage. And they just decide to go one by one. You're falling down the stairs. They're all just like not shooting you. For me, that's where it's like, I get it. You have to just suspend your disbelief. These are silly movies at the end of the day that are just fun action, and there's nothing wrong with that. But even that pushed it a little far for me, where I'm like, okay, like, there's just no stakes at this point, because like, what's gonna kill him? And we'll talk about that.
Do you think the movie, and it's probably maybe stupid, but do you think the movie like just wants us to think that like his suit is capable of like helping him survive those falls?
Oh, I don't know. I just know it's bulletproof. That's all.
Yeah, I know it's bulletproof, but like,
it's not 10-story proof, is it?
It was only 3
it's not
stories.
on his head.
I want it to be known. I would die. Yeah, it was only 3 stories.
No, but he hits that thing on the way down as well.
Bro,
no, that one was
shit.
I don't know how long that was. That's technically, I think, 2 stories but like a long 2 stories. Because it was in a nightclub. But the out of the window was only 3 stories, which still you wouldn't survive. But
not one 10. Broken bone or something. No,
I'm just saying.
The damage is insane. You'd be dead.
Now, let's get into the end of this movie. So we already talked about the duel itself. I just to add my quick thoughts, Cam, I do kind of believe with you. I feel like that was like an MCU kind of liner, whereas like, he didn't actually shoot the bullet, like, and it's like,
you arrogant.
Trust the audience a bit, Chad Stahelski. But so what happens at the end here is John Wick and what's that character's name again? Is Donnie Yen? Was he who plays him?
Kane.
Okay,
Kane.
So they're in a duel against each other. It's pretty clear, at least I gathered this from the beginning of the duel, from the very first shot. I don't know if it's supposed to be obvious, but like, they're clearly not trying to kill each other. They're purposely, like George said, hitting each other in the arm. I didn't actually know, like Cam said, you said, like, I knew for sure he didn't shoot the final shot. I just assumed he just purposely missed it. So I was like, oh, he just like completely missed. Like, I didn't know he didn't shoot his final shot, but I just assumed like, oh, he just didn't want to kill Kane, so he's just going to miss.
That's also what I thought. I thought he shot and just missed on purpose.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't realize that he did not shoot.
You the same.
So
you know what I would have done at the end?
Shot yourself.
You wouldn't have made it to the end, but if you made it to the end, you've done
if you would have made it to the end.
I make it to the end and I'm in this duel, and it's me, Donnie Yen. I would have taken like 3 steps to the left or something.
Like if you were
Blind.
John Wick, just because he's
Yeah.
blind.
Yeah, because he's blind.
No,
And-
John Wick's a man of honor, bro.
Yeah,
I'm not. All right, so I'm trying to live.
I said that to my friend. I was like, I get it. Like, I get it. Blind people, especially in movies like this, like action movies, like, you know, with like Daredevil and in John Wick, it's like they have heightened other senses just to an insane level. But I was like, if you're a betting man, like the betting odds on a duel of John Wick versus a blind assassin has to be like minus 10,000 to John Wick's side. Like, you could bet $1 million on John Wick and only profit like $2 in the betting odds of that. Like, but obviously he was clearly trying to miss. As Cam already mentioned with the spoiler, like, you know, Bill Skarsgård gets killed. They do a little, he didn't actually shoot the final blow to the duel. So Bill Skarsgård walks over to him. He's like, haha, you suck. Looks like I win. And he's like, haha, got you. Shoot you in the head, kill you. And then at that point, the movie basically ends, and John Wick walks down the stairway as the sun's kind of rising. He is freed at this point. He is no longer in debt of anybody. He has to do any service. He's a free man. He walks down the steps, takes a few steps, kind of lays down, looks over
Watches
that sun.
the sun rise on a grateful universe.
Exactly. Watches the sunrise on a grateful universe and drifts off into what we are led to believe, the movie tries to lead us to believe, is him dying, because then just goes a quick one final scene of Lawrence Fishburne at his grave, basically being like, I never thought I'd see the day. John Wick is in the ground, buried, dead. Obviously, bigger spoiler there than any other John Wick movie could possibly be, because they're leading us to believe that John Wick is dead. Now, I want to talk with you guys. I've only talked with George about this, so I want to know what you guys think. Is John Wick dead? I'm going to start with George, because I threw it over to him.
What was the post-credit scene? I got to look that up.
I don't know. I don't care about the post-credits.
I guarantee it was like something like, there's no post-credit scene or something.
God, I was talking to Alex about this yesterday too, because he was like, I don't buy it. I am so 50-50 on whether like he's fully dead or not. When Lawrence Fishburne said, I never thought I'd see the day, I truly thought the camera was going to like pan behind him and we were going to see John Wick, and Lawrence Fishburne was going to be like, you know, you're off the grid, go do whatever you want. I would love for him to like truly be dead. And I know that might sound like a shocker coming from someone who loves this franchise as much as I do, but I just think this is such a fitting ending for his character. You know, he saved Kane, saved his daughter, or maybe didn't save them, but he made sure that they didn't die. And I just think it's a really fitting ending that, you know, this man of steel is put 6 feet under. But at the same time, I could see them pulling like a massive 180 on us. He comes back, John Wick Chapter 5. Maybe we get a movie about, Akira, Hiroyuki Sanada's daughter, who we didn't talk about. She was a sick character, by the way.
She was awesome.
It was her acting debut, wasn't it, as well?
Was it really? Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Good
it
for
was.
her.
Yeah.
Wow, what a debut. But yeah, maybe we get like a movie about her, because she was obviously like just left open for way more storytelling, and maybe John Wick slides.
Post-credit scene.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. It was Kane going to see his daughter, and then Akira. It panned over to Akira or something like that, and she had a switchblade trying to go like extract revenge, and I guess it cut to black before you see like what happens. So
yeah, so like I'd be perfectly fine if like John Wick was truly dead, and then this franchise kind of moves forward, just tackling different characters. But I don't know. I'm so 50-50 on whether he's like truly dead or not.
Yeah.
For me, this is what I texted George. I think personally, John Wick is dead, but Jardani Jovanovic is not dead. I think that basically it's like, I think they're basically saying like, I never thought I'd see the day, which is basically Lawrence Fishburne being like, John Wick, the lore and the character behind him, the assassin, that life of his is dead. But I think Keanu Reeves, the actual person, Jardani Jovanovic, is alive, in secrecy, living on his own, not involved in all of this, and kind of talking about where I want to see this series go from here. I agree with George. I would like to see it like a John Wick 5 or something. Basically, I either want him to actually be dead, because I actually do think they wrapped up his story arc quite brilliantly. Like, if you wanted to make, like, at this point, I wouldn't complain with more John Wick movies, but I think this 4-movie series would be like perfectly concluded for his arc, because literally he gets himself in a huge mess in the movie 1 with all the revenge he takes for getting after the people who killed his dog. And he's finally now free. So based on what you've told us these 4 movies, his freedom's all he really wants at the end of the day. So the fact that he got that, he can die a peaceful, happy man. He doesn't really have anyone on Earth that he's like dying to go live for. So I feel like it would have been a perfect way to conclude it. So if you want to have him die there, I'd be perfectly happy with it. But if you have a John Wick 5, I really don't want him to be like the main character from the beginning. I want to be following someone else, and either he's dead and it's just following other people in this universe, or he comes back at the very like end or the third act, or like John Wick 6 or something. He makes his return or something. I don't want it to be like immediately picking up with Jardani Jovanovic, because like then it's just kind of like a corny little death scene that like made us for nothing.
That's what, like, I don't know if I would enjoy that, because like so let's say he's not dead and let's say he's alive. The assumption is he's out. John Wick is buried, but like his persona is still there. He's still alive. He's just living a very reserved life. The only way that to bring him back into a story is to like make him come out of retirement and make him get back into this world, which would just feel very repetitive.
I'm back.
Yeah, exactly. It would just feel very repetitive of the first John Wick, because that's exactly what happened. He had gotten out of the world. You know, he was living with his wife. Obviously, his wife passed away, so he was just kind of on his own. And then he got dragged back into this world of assassins, which obviously spiraled into John Wick chapters 2, 3, and 4.
Did his wife die?
Yeah.
Never knew that.
John Wick had like cancer or something.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying because he references it all the fucking time.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I was like, really? Like,
no,
me and Anna,
when we were watching it, me and Anna were like, "Oh, did you know his wife's dead?"
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
I was like,
I didn't want to question it because I was like, all right, maybe he wasn't just paying attention or something. But yeah, I don't know. I think it would feel very repetitive if like he was just out living his own life and then he got brought back into this world of assassins, just because that's how this entire franchise kind of got its kickstart.
Yeah.
I'm big on the side of I don't know, I don't care. Sorry.
I'll say that
I mean, like, they're clearly going elsewhere. They have 2 shows, like the Continental and Ballerina, coming out.
Yeah.
That's good enough for me. If he's dead, it's a good ending to his story. If he's not, great.
Well, he's gonna be in Ballerina.
Yeah, I just don't know when it's set.
Something. Yeah, I don't know when. Ballerina. I have no idea like what the timeline of it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll say that when it happened, I thought that he maybe was, like Tyler said, John Wick was dead and he was like living his life in peace. But they're also going to do things. I think he might be actually dead. I think it's a fitting ending. And I'd be completely fine with it, because I think 4 is a really, really good way to end it. And obviously, they're going to be reaching out into other projects within the universe anyway. Obviously, like what Cam said for the post credit scene, I'm going to say like 70-30 he's dead, 30% John Wick is dead, and we're going to see the repeats of the first film, which I agree with George. I don't think that'd be a great idea, because we're just seeing the same thing repeated again. But yeah, if he's dead, that's fine, because I think it's a good way to end it anyway.
Yeah, it's like, for me, I just don't see him having any connection strong enough with anyone that's left on Earth for him to either A, be like alive for plot sake, or B, like come out of retirement again to save someone. I just don't think the first 4 movies, which I don't think they should have been doing, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think the first 4 movies had enough emotional development with him and another character to the point where it's like John Wick would come out of retirement and risk everything now that he has his freedom again for this person. Like, it totally makes sense with the dog and the wife connection. If you try to pull something like that again, I think it's a little cheesy. But just because the first 4 John Wicks have been this good and they have more stuff coming out, like, every single franchise, no matter how good it is at risk of being run into the ground, run to death, and kind of rinse and repeated for cash sake. Even though I love this franchise so far, I wouldn't be surprised if they try and just, further on Keanu Reeves' story just because this movie's doing crazy box office numbers.
Especially how well this is doing. Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, we'll see where they go from there. But I don't know. I think that George said, or Cam said, the Continental coming to Peacock, so there's a TV series about all that lore, which is one of my favorite pieces of this lore, just that hotel that's a lawless ground for criminals. And then we also have the Ana de Armas movie spinoff, Ballerina.
I thought it's a TV show.
Is it? It was a film.
I think Ballerina's a movie.
Ballerina's
Continental's a TV show.
What, do we know the release date for that, or is it like ETA?
No.
I don't think they.
I don't even know if they started filming.
Cool.
I don't think.
No, I don't think they have.
Oh, they're not. Okay.
But the Continental has, and I think it's might be even
I'll watch
done.
that.
So
I like the lower than that.
So yeah, I don't have anything else to say. I'll open it up to you guys. Anything on John Wick 4 here?
I wanted to see more Lawrence Fishburne. That's it.
Oh, here's my one point on Lawrence Fishburne. It's kind of funny he didn't want to come back for the Matrix, the new Matrix. John Wick's the same thing. Like, it's better action, but he's in all 4 of these with Keanu Reeves. Why not just be in the last
Because he
Matrix?
probably read the fourth Matrix and thought this
Yeah,
is
he probably read
Probably.
it.
I'm
and it
just
was like,
saying, like,
no.
Well, you had there you go.
It's the
There's
same
your
shit.
answer.
There's
You
your
probably-
answer.
I'm just saying it's the same shit. Probably get
No, I haven't seen
probably
Matrix
would have gotten
4.
paid good money for the fourth.
I haven't
Matrix,
seen the
but
fourth Matrix, but
also-
let's look at the reviews. Like,
Yeah,
also
it's
the
not
fourth
good.
Matrix, they
people.
just tell Keanu Reeves to be John Wick.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're Neo, but you're John Wick. So just be John Wick. Yeah. Just move on.
Yeah, there concludes our John Wick 4 review. Some of the greatest action and choreography we've ever seen in stunt work. Please bring that category back to the Oscars because John Wick 4 would absolutely
That's
win it
going
this
back.
year. Or I swear they used to have like a stunt.
Did they used to have one of them?
I don't
Wow.
think they used to have.
Did they never have one? Well, bring it
No.
for the first time ever.
Bring
I
it
think-
too.
I think where I get confused with the award season is there are other big awards that have stunt and choreography recognition, but the Oscars do not. Give it to John Wick 4. Just absolutely insane. I've seen so many behind the scenes clips of like the stuntmen, and like I don't get how that's a feasible career.
That guy jumping down the escalator.
Yeah,
bro,
that's literally
crazy.
insane. I don't care like how much padding you're wearing. It didn't look like he was wearing enough for
Yeah.
that to be not the most
it looked like it
excruciating thing ever, and,
hurt.
like give you internal bleeding. Moving on, I watched How to Blow Up a Pipeline 2 nights ago. That comes out in theaters in 2 weeks. It premiered or debuted at Toronto Film Festival last year. I really enjoyed it. Gave it a 4 out of 5. It's like I don't know. It was almost like it felt like a Safdie brothers film almost, where it's like a race against the clock. Like things are getting really stressful and intense. And the score reminded me a lot of like a Christopher Nolan movie, where it's just like not exactly like a ticking sound like Interstellar, but more like Tenet, where there's like an underlying like subtle score that's just like making your heart beat a little faster.
Those are good. Those Christopher Nolan movies.
Yeah, they're pretty.
Did you figure out
they're
how to
pretty
do
good,
it?
actually.
Did you figure out how to blow up the pipeline?
You actually do. Yes, you do actually.
All right, so we'll get on that right after seeing the movie.
Yeah. And then I also saw Dungeons and Dragons early screening, which this was an early screening that was just like sponsored by like Prime Video or something. But so it wasn't like a typical like production studio one where it's free tickets. So like I just want to say that because my theater was packed and it was a large theater. And I think it was like sold out. And this was like $15 a ticket. This wasn't just like a free early screening. So I just think movie theaters are so back at this point. Like the fact that Dungeons and Dragons is getting sold out screenings in massive theaters when this is like a movie that from the trailers and the posters just didn't give us really much reason to think it'd be great. But I had a lot of fun with it. Like we'll do a full review next week, but I just want to say I truly was happy leaving this film. And my girlfriend said this was like one of the most fun she's had in a theater in a while. So very fun movie.
Did she go to see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania?
Stop it! Stop it!
I saved her from that one, fortunately.
Did you like my TikTok yesterday, Cam?
Yeah, I saw.
Thanks.
Which
Appreciate it.
Was it the one with the your TikTok or the ReelTok TikTok?
No, my TikTok.
It was the same as the one on
It was the
ReelTok.
same one on
Real
ReelTok,
Talk,
but
look
instead
at
I
it.
used the clip of me saying Quantumania is the worst MCU movie.
Cam and George, did you both get a chance to see episode 4 of The Mandalorian season?
I did not actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched it. It's a great episode. Good quality Mando in. I was wrong, Tyler, in the sense that I said like third season would be more overarching plot. I was wrong. But I still love it. And I think a lot of people like this episode because it's real focused on Mando and Bo-Katan. And then it's got some Grogu scenes of him being cute. I'm not going to spoil it. I know George is going to watch, but basically they're with the Mandalorian clan, doing their thing, kind of adjusting to it. Some things happen. There's one main named Paz Vizsla, which it's a stupid name, but it's not as stupid as his son's name, Ragnar. His son is named Ragnar, and I said, "Come on, man, give the kid a chance. This dude's gonna get bullied in Mandalorian middle school." But then I got some comments about Ragnar being a cool name. Ragnar's only a cool name if you're a big motherfucker. Like if you're a dude, you can be Ragnar, but this kid is not a dude. So stupid name. I don't have a ton to say. I just like Mandalorian. I like the episode. Good quality. Star Wars, and I'm grinding Star Wars right now, so that's what I need. But nothing crazy to say.
Did you see Ted Lasso episode 2?
Yeah, of course I did.
What were your thoughts on that one?
Banger. Ted Lasso, like, sometimes flips between like really feel good and like kind of sad, but a little bit feel good, you know, like that's the episode structure. This was a really feel good. And guess what, guys? Made me feel good. Made me happy. You know, it's just kind of like a Ted Lasso gang getting a win, being happy. And that's what you're looking for in the show. So good episode. I see you also marked down that Ted Lasso, like the cast was at the White House. People do this shit all the time, like shows or sports teams go to the White House. I didn't watch.
Were they
it
filming
at
a
all.
scene there? Or like I didn't see any update. Like why were they there?
No, I don't know. What does any team ever do there when they go? They just take a picture
but
with
like
the president.
the Ted Lasso crew, didn't they go there in character?
Yeah, they.
Not really.
I don't know what
Yeah, but
they
that would be
were.
marketing, wouldn't it? Like,
I saw like a couple clips. I didn't really watch it, but I saw a couple clips, and it was like they were just goofing around doing a fake press conference.
Yeah.
I don't think they were filming a scene. Maybe they were. Maybe they win the Premier League and they go to the fucking White House. Who knows? But I don't know. People were up in arms. Shut up. It's fine. Like, it's fine. It's such a nothing thing, but yeah, I don't know. They did the thing, bro. They did the thing where Trent Krim was like, Trent Krim, fake reporter, and people
That
laughed.
was funny.
People laughed. Yeah. I mean, I
laughed.
chuckled. But yeah, I don't think they were filming a scene. No, I think they were just going to go. Good PR.
All right.
But yeah, that's all I got. Good feel good episode. Made me happy. Go Ted Lasso. Good show. Go Mandalorian. Good show.
If you're enjoying this episode so far, make sure you hit that like button. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're on Spotify or Apple, make sure you're following us. Make sure you leave us a review. It really helps us out, especially on Apple, because Spotify, we're doing solid on our numbers. YouTube also growing well, but Apple, come on, people, open your Apple Podcast app. Help us out.
I'm like
no one uses it.
I'm the only one that uses it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't.
I like
Apple,
Apple.
bro.
I thought it was like 50-50 between Spotify and Apple before we started this podcast. Now I'm like, oh, Spotify's like bodying Apple right now, aren't they?
It is surprising. You know, Apple, I actually listen sometimes. The interface is actually a lot better. The quality of the music is a lot better on Apple Music.
It's nice.
But I still won't convert because it's shit. Apart
Okay,
from that.
That's fair.
Cam, I need to kick it to you. Give us the jingle.
Hey, it's trailer time. I'm going to make a real jingle and like send it to you sometime.
I missed the guitar.
I would absolutely put that in the show if
Okay.
you made us a real jingle. So we got the final trailer for Renfield. Didn't really give us anything more than I feel like we've already seen. At this point, I don't know. For the Nick Cage is having a little renaissance here. A couple years ago with Pig, with Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which are genuinely like he's coming out with solid projects, and I'm worried that Renfield is going to
I don't know if this is it. I don't know if this is it.
I feel like
I don't
this will
know.
like be. I think this will be like a really good comedy or absolutely awful, like nothing in the middle. But I'm talking like really bad or.
I think
really
at
good.
its best, this can hope to be Warm Bodies, and I think that's like at its best.
I have.
Do you guys like Warm Bodies?
I thought Warm
It's like a
Bodies was
3 out of
okay,
5, and I'm saying
really
that's like the
three,
best I
yeah.
could see from Renfield.
But
I don't see that. I see it being like a 3.7 or like a 2.2. Honestly,
I don't think Nick Cage's Dracula is going to be in this movie as much as we think. I think
it's going to be Renfield.
It's going to be primarily about Renfield, and I think they're just
What
pushing.
an odd Nicholas Hoult thing to be in. Like, I guess he's not a zombie in this, but he's kind of a
Renfield.
zombie again. Yeah,
He's Renfield, bro. I'm excited.
get it.
I think this looks corny and stupid and
I'm going to watch it.
whatever.
I guarantee if we review it, I'll watch it. So
Oh, we'll be reviewing.
Yeah.
It's Nick Cage, man. Next trailer was for Love and Death, a limited series with Elizabeth Olsen and Jesse Plemons, and it's a thriller with Elizabeth Olsen and Jesse Plemons. And that's really all I need to say for me to be like, I'm excited for this. Like, genuinely an amazing actress and actor in a genre that I think both of them will excel in. I'm especially excited to see Elizabeth Olsen because I feel like, I mean, we've seen her in stuff like, Wind River and stuff that's a little more tense thrillers, but I don't know. I'm really excited to see her just really
good actress.
go into her own for this one. Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch Windfall from last year?
Yes, and I'm way higher on that than everyone
Yeah,
else.
Was that
Seth,
one?
or Tyler likes it. That shit's boring.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I enjoyed it. But I think that that's a great display of Jesse Plemons being able to act in a thriller.
Jesse Plemons is
Jesse
awesome,
Plemons
man.
is a great.
He's a
I
very
really
good
like
actor.
him.
Yeah. Todd.
Oh, Jason Segal, not Vince Vaughn. Yeah, Jason Segal. I did watch that.
How can that be profitable for the Frito-Lay?
Uh,
Best line delivery in any movie ever.
oh yeah, for sure. Next trailer is for Big Shark, which is Tommy Wiseau's first film since The Room. I'm interested to see how this does. Will this become like the same
Yeah.
level
Well,
of cult classic, or will
9
it
out
just
of
kind
100.
of
That's my prediction. That's my prediction. For
What do you
Ken.
have the room? Have you seen the
I
room?
don't know if I've seen The Room.
I don't
have
think
I?
I've never seen The Room.
I've got it at 3-star, man. It's
But
so
just from that little
Never.
teaser trailer we got, 9 out of 100 from Cam.
You have it at a 3-star.
yeah.
Isn't it like widely known
Room?
as the worst movie
Yeah,
ever?
but that's why it's funny, man. Like it's so fun. Why would I rate it low when I had such a good time watching
I have
it?
to watch
Do you know
this.
what I mean?
Now, I will say The Disaster Artist is a fucking great movie.
No, but have you not seen The Room, Cam? I thought you'd have
No,
watched it.
I haven't.
It's so bad that it's,
I need to see
you,
The Room.
you would have such a
I
good
need
time.
to. Yeah, I need
You
to
would
watch
have
that.
such a good
That's
time.
that's fine, but I'm not a it's so bad it's good guy because there are a lot of it's so bad it's good movies to people that I still give a 1 out of 100 because
But
they're
do you
still
enjoy it?
bad. They're still bad.
Nah.
I watch a lot of shit movies.
What
Man.
about Batman and
I don't
Robin?
know what I
Stop.
enjoy.
Batman and Robin is such ass.
No, Batman
but
and
it's-
Robin's
bro,
a
he has
3
a
out of
bad
100.
credit card. I have that at 3-star, I think.
Oh,
Oh,
my
dude,
God.
you're an idiot.
He has
Yeah,
a bad
you're-
credit card, bro. You gotta. So you saying you don't laugh at that film? If you say you don't laugh when he pulls,
No,
out his
no,
no,
because that's not true. That's my biggest annoyance. I have it at 3 out of 100. You don't laugh at the movie. You laugh at the little clips you see online, and then you think the movie's funny. No,
I'm
the
also-
I've
movie
I'm
seen
also-
the film.
sucks.
The film is
The
funny.
movie sucks.
Oh, sorry, I have it.
I'm not laughing
2.5.
with the the
2.5.
movie's not making me laugh. It's
It's
like,
making
But it
me
I'm
is
laughing-
because you're putting
no,
the
no,
film
no,
on,
I'm-
and
I'm
you're
laughing.
laughing.
I'm laughing at the movie because it's
Yeah, so I've had a good
stupid.
time with the film. So there we go. 2.5, not 3. I'll stand corrected. It's decent.
It's 3 out of
The
100.
last trailer, which I don't have anything to talk about for, I'm just saying, Assassin Club with Henry Golding had a trailer release. It didn't say if it's
Oh,
like,
did it really?
I don't think it said if it's a streaming service movie, but this just feels like a typical like high action, budget too big streaming service movie that's going to be mid
this-
at best.
Shit.
This is the movie that's going to fall on its face in the sense that like John Wick and this probably have the same amount of like substance to it, but John Wick's action is so much better, and this is going to be like a 1 out of 5 because the action is so not good. That's my guess. That's my guess.
Yeah,
I like that guess.
it doesn't look great. Let's hop into some movie news now. A lot of these, stop me if you want to talk about them, but a lot of these things I've listed here, just like I'm listing it off and be like, cool, thumbs up, interesting piece of news. Just keep you all informed. So, Bong Joon-ho's Parasite becomes the first film ever on Letterboxd to pass 1 million 5-star ratings. Thumbs up,
Ooh.
cool, great movie, ReelTok collection.
Does that
Certified
surprise
approval.
you guys though?
Yeah.
All right, I know we just said we'll gloss through.
It kind
It
of
No,
does,
I
does,
don't-
it does
actually,
surprise
honestly.
me.
His Letterboxd has been around since what, like 2012, 2013, maybe.
Yeah, but it didn't. I think it was like.
And I
It didn't pick
2017.
up till like 20.
Yeah.
I know, but like,
I'd say.
I don't know. I just feel like there are so many like massive, like popular, like fan favorite movies, and I don't know. Just seeing,
Yeah, but
like
a fan favorite, say, like Avengers: Infinity War, we'll just say one of the biggest movies
Yeah.
ever, or Avatar: The Way of Water. Most of them aren't getting like probably a 5 out of 5. Like
yeah,
Parasite
that's
is
fair.
like it's a cult classic almost in the sense that like most common people don't go and see like a South Korean movie. Right? It's from
We hate those
right.
people.
Yeah. Most people in the general public probably don't watch this, but because it won the Oscar and Bong Joon-ho is like a fan favorite at this point, like a lot of people have seen it, and it's a fucking great
It's because
movie.
It's because it not only like Cam said, it's a great movie. It's gone down in history as the first non-English speaking picture to win Best Picture, so it'll always have that credo, I guess. Of,
Yeah,
Mhm.
I wonder how many the Dark Knight's got. 'Cause people like
it definitely.
I
doesn't
think
have
the
that
thing
many.
is
yeah,
that-
George, Dark Knight 662,000. It's not even close. Like
Yeah,
5
see,
star
that's
wise.
what I'm saying.
Well, no,
man.
like
Yeah.
Parasite
It's because
is a
it's
cinephile movie.
revolutionary.
No,
It's
I think it's just because like the type
revolutionary,
of people
and
that
most
have
people think
Letterboxd like Parasite. I don't think MCU fans have Letterboxd. It's not like they're not the type of people that are like reviewing movies and logging movies.
I don't know,
think-
man. Letterboxd is like so big now.
Like Empire
Like-
Strikes Back has 350. I'm gonna check like maybe Avatar or something. I don't know. People don't rate Avatar a 5
I
star.
don't know, but like,
Of course they
even
do.
like the Godfather, man.
Yeah, but
like,
you've got to remember, George, that came out like what 73? Because the newer
Yeah, I
films will always
guess.
have more, won't they? That's the thing. Because that's
Yeah,
probably only. I
It
bet-
doesn't surprise me, in my opinion. I
if
would
it's
say.
if I was to guess a film, Parasite would probably be in the first 5 films I would guess because it's so relevant and so like
Wow.
revolutionary.
Spirited Away has 530,000 5-star ratings.
Yeah, I love that fucking shit. Amazing.
Well, like, I don't know, something like a Whiplash, 532.
2014, though, isn't it?
We
No, man.
digress. But yeah, my point is that kind of surprised me.
It didn't surprise me.
Next bit of news, Apple to spend $1 billion on producing films that will be released in theaters. They're looking to release Killers of the Flower Moon, Argyle, and Napoleon this year in theaters. I think this is huge because, like I kind of mentioned earlier with Dungeons & Dragons, I think movie theaters are so back at this point. I think a lot of streaming services gambled heavily on the fact that movies are going to start being straight to streaming, straight to renting. So they were just really trying to up their original content. But now I think this is a clear sign by Apple, and I think other streamers will follow suit, like Netflix with some of their big films, of basically being like, no, theaters are here to stay. That's still a huge money-making potential. So we're going to start trying to push our movies to theaters before going to the streaming service, which is a huge thumbs up because a lot of these massive streaming services lately have been getting exclusive contracts with some of the best directors working today, and not getting a chance to see these directors in theaters is just a shame. So I'm very happy to see that they're going to be pushing these out to theaters. But yeah, cool. Apple to be spending a lot of money on theater releases. Next up, Todd Field retires from directing after Tar. Basically, right when Tar came out, he was kind of floating the idea of like, maybe this is my last film, maybe not. But he officially says he's retiring after directing Tar. So good banger. Like,
hasn't he only done like 3 feature films or something?
Yeah, he's not like that old or anything, but I think he's just like, that movie took a lot out of me, and I have enough money to do whatever the hell I want the rest of my life. So I think
Late
he's just,
50s.
Yeah, I feel like when you're in this job, like of like, I don't know, I'm gonna throw out a basketball coach or director or composer or like jobs that like you work till you're like 80. That sucks. Even if I love what I do, I want to. I don't want to work that long.
You don't want to be a Francis Ford who's like doing a film like 92.
Yeah, like I know he can travel. Like I can't travel anytime I want right now. I know he can, or any director can, and so that's kind of, I guess, what you're waiting for when you're in like the real world. But that sucks.
Well, so Todd Field, right, did a film called In the Bedroom 2001. Then he did a film called Little Children 2006, and then came back in 2022 and released Tar, and that's it. So
he'll be back in 2035,
2048 or something. But who knows? But Tar, I mean, great one to go out on, in my opinion. Fair enough. You probably made a fucking load of money from anywhere.
I made a chunk.
Oppenheimer clocks in at 3 hours long. I wanted to talk about this briefly because Seth, you said you hope that movies don't kind of stick with this 3 hour run time. You wish things would tighten up a bit. I'll give you time to expand on that.
I did say people got very confused. I just used the Oppenheimer news as a way to say my point. But then in my tweet and video, I did actually say that Oppenheimer is one of the many exceptions to the rule. I like 3 hour films. If a film is good, why would I not want it to be longer? I think with a film like Oppenheimer, which covers so many bases, I think even a film like Babylon, I get it. Like, you can make films 3 hours. I just think we're at a point now where a lot of new releases seem to be around this 2.5 to 3 hour margin, which don't have the narrative to earn that and are too sparse in the narrative. And I often think that studios think that if someone sees a 2.5 hour, 3 hour film, it will equal prestige or greatness in their eyes. And I personally think that's what a lot of studios do. But I think Oppenheimer's fine to be 3 hours. Like, there's gonna, like, the thing is, Christopher Nolan's as a director, he's not my favorite, but I think he's done many great films that have been long. I think Interstellar was nearly 3 hours, 2:40, 2:50.
Yeah, 2:40.
Inception probably over 2.5. Dark Knight over 2.5.
Dunkirk, I think, similar to that.
No, Dunkirk's like 1:40, isn't it? Dunkirk was short.
No, yeah. Okay.
But yeah, this is not a film where I think it's the case. I just wanted to use it as a point. I just think it is becoming like a norm now that a lot of studios think that higher run times will equal greater, and then a lot of people will, in my opinion, actively avoid going to, especially working people, they'll actively avoid going to a film if it's 3 hours or more, because it's a lot of time, especially if it's
I will say, looking at like my 2022 ranking, I logged 100 films exactly. Only 9 of them were above 2.5 hours.
Really? I would definitely watch. I counted the other day. I watched at least like 20 last year at the Rover.
Yeah, the only ones that I have are Avatar, Babylon, RRR, The Batman, Vikram, Blonde, Wakanda Forever, Elvis, and Tar.
Maybe like 2:15 then. That might be the margin.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Northman upwards. But I just think there's a lot of... I think as well, we're getting like, maybe it's 2 hours. When you get these streaming films a lot of the time now, a lot of the streaming originals now, even ones that aren't great, are 2 hours, or over 2 hours. Like, I'm talking the majority of them. I don't know, man. I just feel like there's not enough 90-minute films now, to be honest. I mean, It might be just my opinion, but I think I get kind of tired of every film being that long, unless it's good. Obviously,
Did you almost say it might be my generation?
No?
I thought I almost heard that. Okay.
No,
I thought you
No.
almost said my generation. I was
That's
like,
all
Seth,
of
you're
our
24.
generation.
Yeah.
No, did I say that? Wait a minute.
I don't know. I think you stopped yourself.
That was
But-
funny.
This
close.
week
But yeah.
in Robert Downey Jr. news, we have two bits of news here. So first off, a remake of Vertigo is in the works with Robert Downey Jr. likely to be playing the lead. A lot of people on Twitter immediately were very, very upset that they're going to be remaking Vertigo. I'd say it's been like 70 years. Whatever. Movies are remade all the time.
Yeah, if you're remaking something like 10 years ago,
It'd probably be better than the original anyway. To be fair, so it's what it is.
You a Vertigo
but-
hater, Seth?
No, I hate it. It's just like boring, isn't it? For most
You
part.
didn't love it.
Good. No, it is good. It is good, but I don't care. The thing is, I will say I don't like it, but then I also think there is a point in time where it has gone. What was it? 53, 54, that kind of thing. It's been
58.
a while. 58. Okay, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So
I don't think this is
Better
the
than
movie.
remaking the fucking like
another
I don't
round,
know.
for example.
Yeah, another
Yeah.
round.
2 years or something.
Yeah, like this.
I don't
This
like
is
it, but I
the
also don't
Hitchcock
hate
film. People should be up in arms about for remaking. It's not anywhere near his best. Respectfully.
Well, apparently, according to most people, it is his best, which I heavily disagree with.
Come
But,
on.
is what it is.
Yeah, I think the outrage was a little crazy how much people got mad about this. Robert Pattinson, Robert Downey Jr., Amy Adams, Daniel Deadweiler, and a lot more are confirmed to be in Adam McKay's next movie called Average Height, Average Build, which follows a serial killer who gets into politics to change the laws to be more murder-friendly. This sounds exactly like something Adam McKay will just knock out of the park. I know his style isn't for everyone, but if you are an Adam McKay fan, the description of this movie sounds like something that he will just absolutely be able to hit a slam dunk.
Wait, who's? And come on, Big Short.
Well, I mean more like The Big Short. Don't look
Big
up
Short.
because
Yeah,
like
but
lately
like
he's
Big
doing
Short,
Vice, a lot of
Vice.
political
I
stuff.
like the Big
Don't
Short.
look up.
Big
Yeah.
Short's good.
I love that he's just been like,
Every
I watched Don't Look Up or like 3/4 of it yesterday, and I was like, this man has just perfected his
I
like
haven't
political
seen
satire, and it is so fucking hilarious
I think
to
Seth,
watch.
you'd like Don't Look Up.
You reckon?
I think most people that don't Don't Look Up are butthurt that it's
Yeah, they're
actually
just
about
soft.
that it's actually about climate change.
Yeah.
Is it a Netflix one? It is. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll try that soon. Then.
It's a good movie. It's
That's
not,
all
it's
in
not his
theaters.
best. It's not his best, but it's a good movie.
Not his best.
Cillian Murphy
it.
received his first ever BAFTA nomination for his performance in Peaky Blinders. I just wanted to mention this because that's how Georgie tweeted saying like, "How is this his only first BAFTA?"
Like-
So
That's absurd. The dude is British, I think.
Yeah, but you think about all the
I
things that
think-
were on at that time.
Like
Game of
Kikwe,
Thrones.
hold on. The BAFTAs just gave Barry Keoghan Best Supporting Actor over Kikwe Kwan.
Wait, BAFTAs? I thought they were just film. Is it TV
Yeah.
as well?
Yeah, it's TV as well.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
This
Like
is
how do you not give?
I think Peter Dinklage. What? No, he's not.
He's
Is Peter Dinklage English or is he American?
He's English.
No, he's American.
Is he American?
Yeah, he's American. I thought he was English.
Oh, I have no idea. Either way, it's
plays an English
absurd.
guy in a lot of things.
Yeah, he does play English people all the
in
time.
one thing.
Wow,
I
I
guess.
really thought he was English. Wow.
That's like how everyone thinks Christian Bale is American.
Yeah.
No one thinks that. Who thinks that?
A lot
Everyone
of
thinks.
people.
You just
a
have to
lot
listen
of-
to him, and he's just
A
like,
lot
Well,
of people.
yeah,
think
but
that.
when the common, all right, Seth, take your head out of film Twitter and go to the common people.
I am
that
not
you
in
see on the
film
street.
Twitter. Don't you dare put me in that place.
Common people you see on the street don't watch interviews with Christian Bale. What
guess so.
movie has Christian Bale ever done in his normal accent?
Pale Blue Eye,
Pale Blue Eye. Okay, yeah, I forgot
Yeah,
about
go
that
fuck
movie
boom,
yourself.
already.
roasted.
That movie came out this year, and I've already forgotten
Also
about it.
on his press tour for all three Batman movies,
Prestige.
he did an English like an American
Prestige.
accent.
What was he in
Really?
Ford vs Ferrari?
Yeah, because he was afraid people would hate him as a casting for Bruce Wayne because he wasn't American.
Wasn't
So
American.
on his press tour, he did all of his interviews with an American accent.
Wow.
Wait,
now I gotta
really?
see this.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
If
I gotta-
anyone would
I
know
gotta-
that, if anyone would know
whatever.
that fact, it would be George.
It'd be George. Yeah.
We,
It's a
we
great
got some,
fact to know.
We got some theater release dates. So Jordan Peele's next film will be another horror thriller. Thriller will be released on Christmas Day in 2024. And then we have Magazine Dreams, which is going to be released this year, December 8th. This came out of Sundance.
December.
Yeah,
Is
December
that the
8th.
Jonathan Majors one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it came out in
Wow.
Sundance, and basically a December release date means they're absolutely going for Oscars with this one. The consensus from everyone who's seen is like the movie's like
Bodybuilder one.
fine, it's not
Yeah.
great, but Jonathan Majors' performance is absolutely like probably going to be getting a nomination, even though I
Is
I was
hate
gonna
when people.
say
Yeah.
This far
you're
apart?
very like locked into him getting a nomination for this role.
Well, I don't know. I kind of hate when
I
people
mean-
say like they predict him to be the next Oscar because I feel like that's the most like, hey guys, I went to Sundance Film Festival. That's why like anyone who I see tweet this like Jonathan Majors win the Oscar
I
next
see
year
it
for
all
this.
the time.
I'm always like, okay, we get it. You went to Sundance, but no, I think he'll be nominated. I think like December 8th just solidifies it. Like their Searchlight Pictures is absolutely expecting him to be nominated. I think the movie's fine. I'll be interested. I've never done a film festival before, so I'm going to be interested to see like how much do they cut and re-edit from the initial release because I think this one does need it to be like a good movie overall. But Jonathan Majors, I think, will probably get nominated. I don't see it's like exactly the type of movie like people get nominated for, where it's just a person that's just so captivating. It's literally like a Lydia Tarr-esque performance where he has to carry just the entire movie on his back, and his mental psyche is like the entire movie.
So is that why they're releasing in December time? Because they think it'll get Oscars buzz or Academy buzz? Is that why then?
Probably, except like I thought Everything Ever All at Once would change that a little bit to where people wouldn't like realize they'd have to wait that long. Because like at the end of the day, this movie's done and finished. It's not like unless they want to recut it.
No, it's
I think it just got picked up by a studio, right?
Searchlight,
so like,
isn't it? Yeah.
so they probably can't release it,
Yeah, but December?
I that's like Oscar season. Like that's when a lot of movies come out, like because you don't want to get lost in the year. Everything Everywhere All at Once is like
The anomaly.
the exception. Yeah. Most movies get lost in the year.
Speaking of Everything Ever All at Once, it just passed Morbius at the box office. I just wanted to mention that because I just think that's hilarious. Like it got re-released because it won the Oscars Best Picture, and domestically it has passed Morbius at the box office.
It also
hilarious.
I don't know if you saw I put in. It released 1 year ago today. Not Monday today, but Saturday when we're recording this pod. It released
What
1 year ago. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Did it come out in March for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it came out in May.
March 25th, 2023.
Yeah,
or
we know,
2022.
Seth.
Yeah, Seth, I'm shocked it's even out.
We got that, bro.
Yeah, and speaking of that, like Everything Ever All at Once and The Batman was already released at this point last year. So last year just started off very strong. This year's been good, but I don't think we've had anything hit those peaks yet. Scream 6 just passed $100 million at the box office. And again, that's just the theme of this episode. Like movie theaters are just so back. Like these franchises are just like Creed 3, Scream 6, John Wick 4 are all just doing crazy numbers. And then last bit of news, Mike Weiss and Lucas Hedges to star in the stage adaptation of Brokeback Mountain. I just thought this was funny because Lucas Hedges, like I've seen on so much on film Twitter the past couple months of everyone just being like, where the hell has this guy been? Like he's not in any movies. And then all of a sudden they drop this. It's like he's in a stage adaptation of Brokeback Mountain. So who's back in the
great
week?
idea.
Lucas Hedges.
He's so damn good.
He's a really good actor. I'd like to see more of him.
Now we'll get into nerd news, which we need to have a jingle for at this point. So Cam, that's your task for this week. Come up with a nerd news jingle.
Holy shit, it's nerd news.
No, we're still workshopping that.
Yeah, we'll circle back to that jingle. So first, I just want to go through the quick timeline of Victoria Alonso leaving Marvel Studios. She was the president of physical, post-production, VFX, and animation. And this just sounds like, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of underlying stuff, but this just sounds so petty at this point. Like there's so many updates that come up from both sides every day. So here's the quick, fast-forwarded timeline of everything. So it said she had left the studio at first, and the initial reports were saying that Victoria Alonso, she was singularly responsible for all of the toxic working conditions at Marvel that we've come to hear about the past year of, their VFX people being overworked, and she is the president. So the initial reports were like, good thing she's gone. She was the single problem. Then it came out and said like her leaving the company apparently was a result of like a comprehensive HR and management review. So then we had everyone thinking like there must be a lot of shady shit behind the scenes that she was doing. Then it came out saying she was actually fired because she didn't leave because she was working on and promoting Argentina 1985 while working at Disney, and that's a void of contract. But then her attorney came out and said those claims are ridiculous. Then her lawyer says it's because she refused to do something reprehensible, quote, reprehensible, and she was fired from Disney and Marvel for not doing whatever they wanted her to do that she said was reprehensible. And she said because of this, Marvel is basically going to rue the day and there will be serious consequences for them. Disney replies to that saying, no, you breached contract and we're in direct violation of company policy. So this is basically like a public court ruling just going on through headlines of just like her accusing Marvel, saying like, you guys fired me for no reason. You're going to be in big trouble. And basically Marvel being like, nah, you kind of sucked. Like, none of us wanted you here. So just a lot of wild drama coming out of Marvel Studios and Disney this week. I don't know if there's anything to comment on that, but I just this is a crazy story that I think will have some serious consequences for one side or the other, but we're gonna have to wait and see what happens.
All I want to say on this is like, I don't tweet every bit of news, and sometimes, you know, I may just miss something, but this is like a situation where I'm glad I didn't tweet. I tweeted that she was fired, or she left, or was let go, or whatever happened. And then I stopped, because you get a discussing film update every 5 minutes of a new thing. And I was like, all right, this is too much. So I'm glad I did not tweet every single news outlet, because there's always a new one that's just incorrect, or maybe it's correct, but who knows? So just stupid. Who cares?
Yeah.
Get better VFX. People are mad about it. So maybe, you know, maybe like this wasn't that bad of a fire. Who knows? Like, that's something people are very up in arms about at Marvel.
Marvel
right
just
now.
watched Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and it was like, nah, we got to get this woman out of here.
Next piece of Marvel news: Owen Wilson to return as Mobius in Deadpool 3, which is supposed to be Deadpool versus the TVA. Cool. I really wasn't expecting that to be where Deadpool. I didn't think Deadpool 3 was going like to that route, but I guess maybe I just was out of the loop.
Yeah, they got to tie it in.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I'm still so locked into the theory that Kang, and we don't need to get into detail, but like Kang is going to go to the Sonyverse, absolutely dog that universe. Deadpool is going to come out of it alive, go to another universe.
He was in the Fox. Deadpool was in the Fox universe.
The Fox universe, whatever. And then he's going to come to like the MCU and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't know.
I thought you were about to say I'm so locked into the theory that Deadpool 3 is still not going to be R-rated. I mean, who knows? But they have come out and said multiple times, like, it's R-rated. I promise.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I know.
Heading over to the DC extended universe still at this point. I don't know what Shazam falls into, but Zach Levi, Rachel Zegler, and others of the cast were very vocal and upset on social media about the critical reception of Shazam 2. Bad look. It like started with Rachel Zegler. I feel like she was wearing
it's
like
a bad look necessarily.
It is.
You're promoting. You're saying your movie's better, like good.
No, but she was putting a lot about it on. It looked really bad on her. It did.
She does no wrong, so shut up. She's the best.
And then Zach Levi on that Instagram live the other night, basically being like, I mean, so the thing is, like, did it sound petty? Yeah, but at the end of the day, like, I feel like they were just airing grievances of this whole DC universe switching over from old management to new, because, like, genuinely, I can see why Zach Levi especially be frustrated as a titular character, and basically him being like, we had all these plans, the old Warner Brothers studio scrapped them, then we had all these new plans, and like Dwayne Johnson scrapped them.
Maybe, I don't know. Dwayne Johnson apparently like.
Well, like, even the original Shazam, he was saying like, we plan to have Superman in it for a lot more, but then like the studio came in at the last second saying like, no, you can only have his body, not his head, and like, I can see why they'd be frustrated, but yeah, just a lot of complaining coming out of them.
Also, the director, I kind of feel bad for the director, because like, which I can say this because like I don't have anyone like looking. He's not turning it. He's not just turning a new leaf and just ignoring it. He's just tweeting about it, and he's like, yeah, I'm done with superhero movies. Y'all are mean to me or something, basically. And then he posted like a Reddit thread about like how he's a bitch because he's done with superhero movies, and he's like, this is what I'm talking about, which is fair. But I feel bad for him. He's kind of getting dragged in the mud, and it's not a bad enough movie, in my opinion, to be like ripping it to this extent. It's better than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I think George and I can agree on that.
Yeah, but to be fair,
I think
got
it's about the same. But
honestly,
like,
I don't think Peyton Reed got ripped enough for that movie.
He did. I saw loads on Twitter.
He got a lot of. Like, I think
I should have tweeted more.
Leave these directors be. Leave the people who work on the movies be. Just get mad about the movie. That's my opinion on it.
The last three bits of news are all about Star Wars. So the Daniels to direct an episode of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. People are mad about this, like they always
poop
are.
Their pants over small thing.
Yeah, but whatever. Have fun with it. Enjoy playing around the Star Wars universe.
Martin Scorsese also directing 5 episodes.
That was a funny tweet by the ReelTok account.
Josiah Coops.
Yeah.
That made me cry.
New trailer was released for Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the video game. Cam, do you play any of the Star Wars video games, or have you ever?
No, I'm not a story video game guy.
You would love those games.
Well, I know, but I'm not a story video game guy. So I was never like a COD campaign guy. I'm like a multiplayer, just
you wouldn't play
Fortnite
COD campaigns anyway. To be fair,
I mean, shut up. What do you mean? People like those games. I don't know.
Really?
I'm just saying I prefer like a Fortnite or a COD online. I don't know.
Yeah, more multiplayer, but
I will say
the first game was really good.
I know the lore of
the first game was really good.
Yeah,
I'll probably play it.
They released banger video games all the way back to Star Wars Battlefront 2. I played that all the time on the original Xbox.
The original one.
Yes, the original.
They did a
So
Battlefront
good.
a few years ago.
Yeah.
It was, not very good at all.
And then last bit of news for Nerd News is Lucasfilm to announce 3 new Star Wars movies at Star Wars Celebration in April. Hopefully these don't just fall through like it seems. I feel like all I've seen in the past 6 months of Star Wars news is this director's out of this Star Wars movie. This Star Wars movie's canceled. They scrapped this. They changed this. So I guess now they're announcing 3 new ones. It sounds like basically they were saying because they canceled the Indiana Jones Disney Plus series. So it sounds like Disney based and doing that Disney was we're focusing all our effort on Star Wars right now, so they cut that. So it sounds like they're strapping down the bootstraps here and saying okay, Star Wars has been a little off the rails the past couple of years with all these changes of directors, changes of direction. Hopefully this is turning the new leaf and they're going to be on track. But Cam, you excited for Star Wars Celebration, hearing these new projects?
Always excited. Yeah, like you said, I think they kind of just realized that it's a little off the rails. Need to figure it out a bit. I'm a Star Wars defender till I die, but Christ, I can't. Rise of Skywalker wasn't good. The Book of Boba Fett was not a good show. Obi-Wan Kenobi was, I'll defend that show to the death just because one scene of Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, but the rest of it wasn't great. I don't know. Andor and the Mandalorian are good. It's not like they're doing everything bad, but they're just kind of all over the place. So, yeah, probably need to figure it out.
Before we get into our draft for this week, I want to go over what have we all been watching. So I'm going to start off with George. What have you been watching this week? You had the week off. What did you tick off your watch list?
First one, About Time. I watched
Holy
About Time.
win. Holy dog.
Finally watched it. Did we talk about this last week?
No, I don't think we did.
Okay, one thing about Time that I wanted, and I'm happy. So what I thought was going to happen was I thought he was going to at the end. Everyone kept saying, "Prepare to cry, prepare to cry." You're going to be actually in tears.
You don't cry.
I hysterically cried, but I cried for. I thought he was going to mess up his entire relationship, somehow go back in time to where he never made Rachel McAdams. I didn't realize the crying scene was going to be just a very emotional father-son moment. So I'm very happy that that didn't happen, because that was yeah, it's a heartbreaking cry, but it's a nice happy cry. You end off with them running on the beach, blah blah blah.
That's the beach scene.
Yeah, that was brutal,
amazing.
man.
Dude, the score too. That's one of the most underrated things about that movie. I think the score in that movie is one of the more emotional scores I've ever heard.
Such a beautiful.
Yeah,
scene.
and then Tyler, just one thing. I actually read your Letterboxd review. It was time travel's in this movie, and that's about as far into it as you're going to get. They're not explaining it. You just have to buy into it, and I really enjoyed that part of the movie. I finished watching, me and Victoria watched Daisy Jones and the Six. I really
What did you
enjoyed it.
think?
It was very good. I actually rated higher than Victoria.
I was going to say, I think Anna said that 3.5. She likes the books a lot more than the show.
Yeah, Victoria said she liked the book too more, but I never read the book, so I was like, maybe this is why I like the show
Did you
more
actually
than she
enjoy it?
does. I did. I very much enjoyed it.
I
thought, yeah. And then me and Victoria checked off some 2000s rom-coms. I Love You, Beth Cooper, and John Tucker Must
Have you not
Die.
seen I Love You, Beth Cooper before?
I've never seen either of them, bro.
I thought it was a rewatch. I watched that years
I know.
ago.
I Love You, Beth Cooper had me crying. That shit was so funny. And then Under the Skin I watched, which we talked about it. I have a very love-hate relationship with that movie, but I do want to rewatch it. But yeah, it's about it.
Seth, what have you been watching this week?
Yeah, I ticked off a few. Obviously, John Wick. So that's took loads of time. I watched a film called Dark Water. George, watch it. It's amazing. It's same guy, same director who did the original Ring. It's very similar to Pulse, but a lot more emotional. Early 2000s Japanese horror. Really,
better
really
or
good.
worse than the movie that came out last year, Deep Water.
I don't know what that is. Which one's that?
It
The one with
was
Ana de
Ana de
Armas.
Armas and Ben Affleck, and it was
I've
real.
seen that.
It was real shit.
I think I know which one you mean. Actually, I watched Vertigo for the first time. I liked it. It was like I say it wasn't good. It was good. I like most of it. Just there were some parts where I found quite boring, and
When
I don't
he's
know, man.
following her for 30 minutes.
like I've only seen like 7 Hitchcock films, so I'm not like well versed as filmography, but I think that'd be like second bottom for me. 3.5, liked it, but nowhere near the top end. Texas Chainsaw Massacre rewatched the original. That's now a 5-star for me, which I loved. I also watched The Master, George. I ticked that off finally as well. I think that film doesn't warrant another watch. It needs another watch. It requires one because there is so much to take in with the Master. But I think Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman in that film is just incredible.
Devastating.
Incredible. And also
So
Amy
good.
Adams as well. Jesse Plemons, Laura Dern, so many. And also it's such a good looking film. Like it looks amazing. Tyler, have you seen The Master?
I have not.
You like PTA, don't you? I think you would love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
need
think
to take
you'd
it
like
off.
really.
I've been meaning to for a while.
Yeah,
That's number 2 PTA for me.
Really? I think it'd be like number 5 for me. That's like it's still a 4
Yeah.
star, but he has done so many great films. That's the
Yeah,
issue.
he's one of the goats, no doubt.
No doubt. And then I also watched Last Black Man in San Francisco, or Sacramento, as Cam would call it. And that was really, really good as well. But obviously, we'll go into that in the Patreon review. But I've had a pretty good week. Obviously, most of it was just ticking off the John Wick films more than anything.
Cameron Walsh, what have you been watching?
Star Wars. That's it. That's
Yeah.
that's it. That's
So
the
are
answer.
you
I've
going
been-
through literally every piece of Star Wars
bro.
content?
Yeah,
out there?
I'm watching every piece of Star Wars content, so I'm through in chronological order. So I'm through.
Are you skipping over like Clone Wars episodes? You're watching the whole thing through?
Is that the animated series? Clone
Yep.
Wars?
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch everything. It allegedly takes 6 days. My goal is by May the 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
I'm
What does
through
it
the
end
first.
with chronologically?
So the last one is the Rise of Skywalker.
There's
Okay.
7 seasons of Clone Wars.
It's a good
Wow,
show.
that's good.
First,
Is it like
the first
short episodes?
22 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, so
They're like what TV was,
Sitcom kind of thing.
back in 2008. Yeah, like 22 minutes with commercial or 30 minutes with commercials. I mean, yeah. So I'm through the first two movies, and then I watched the Clone Wars movie, which a lot of people forget, but it's a very forgettable movie. So that's fair. I forgot it at first, honestly. And then I watched the first season of Clone Wars, and I'm through like 5 episodes, maybe of the second season. I don't know. Follow my Twitter. I'm doing a big Twitter thread, but I find more funny things, and I've just like looked up more funny things about like the prequels. So I'm already kind of like 2/3 the way through my stupid content.
Wait, what order are you doing it in? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Chronological order.
The films. Okay, you're doing chronological.
Yeah, like not how they came out, but like
Do most Star Wars fans do it chronological or release?
I would say most Star Wars do release probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
There's a lot of I don't know. There's a lot of stupid things in Star Wars, and so as much as I love it, like I texted Tyler a bunch of like fun facts the other day because he was doing like very common fun facts that everyone knows, and I texted him like 5 or something like Star Wars fun facts that he didn't know any of them. So maybe I just have like too much knowledge of Star Wars in my head, but there's so many like stupid things in Star Wars like that I'll tweet about eventually. But like when Obi-Wan meets Luke, he says like, when I first met your father, he was a pilot. So since they did Anakin as a kid, they have to make him a fucking pod racer. So apparently that's piloting. And then like, there's a character in the first Phantom Menace that, what's his name? He's Sebulba. In the original Star Wars, there was no Sebulba character. There was no like, whatever his character is. They just put him in George Lucas's re-release. So there's a bunch of like callbacks, and there's too many now. George Lucas re-released those things and said, I'm going to call everything back and call everything forward. And it's a lot. So if you care about Star Wars, I'll probably tweet all of that. There's also sorry to rant about Star Wars, but I love it, so I have to keep talking. There's also a deleted scene of Anakin Skywalker in the Phantom Menace, so the very first movie as a kid, where he gets pushed down by a Greedo character, who, if you don't know, Greedo is like who doesn't shoot Han first, I guess. And he gets like pushed down after because he thinks he cheated in the pod race, and Anakin's like, you're gonna get payback one day, Greedo. And it's like, that's the worst like call forward I've ever. They took that scene out. Luckily,
what's that from?
That's from the Phantom Menace. That's busty Senator Palpatine. It's just when he's coming on clone, they like wiggle him a bunch, but like someone took a screen grab and it's just busty Senator Palpatine.
I don't remember.
Yeah, there's a lot of like Star Wars lore that I know probably way too much of, so I'll just tweet a bunch of it. And I'm not all of it's an original thought. It's probably something I've heard on like a podcast or something. But if you like Star Wars, maybe follow my Twitter.
No way.
Okay, cool.
For me this week, other than the movies I've already talked about, based on what we're going to be reviewing and what I kind of reviewed earlier, watched A Star Is Born for the first time for me. I thought it was a banger. So obviously this movie's like a remake of a remake of a remake at this point. It's been told a ton. But I feel like Bradley Cooper, because I feel like the story of A Star Is Born, like, a successful artist on the come down and dealing with that in one way or another, whether it's due to like drugs, alcohol, losing your hearing. I don't know. I really liked his direction on this one. Lady Gaga is just phenomenal, and Bradley Cooper is also just a phenomenal actor, so I really enjoyed it. Watched American Honey. I feel like that's a pretty in terms of like A24 movies, that's one like I've just like never heard anyone talk about, so tick that one off, and I thought it was very good. Bums me out, honestly, that Shia LaBeouf is such an ass, because he's genuinely, I just think, like really good in a lot of these movies, especially like his indie movies. Like, I think he's just so good, but unfortunately he's just like a bad
Is that the
dude.
one? Is that the one that he wrote? I don't think I've seen that.
No,
Good
he wrote
question.
Honey Boy.
Oh, is that? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Honey Boy is like the one like loosely based off of his like childhood and adolescence.
Yeah, that movie was a little controversial too, apparently.
Yeah, because apparently it wasn't all that true.
Yeah.
But whatever.
And then also watched Worm last night, which was a weird little dystopian movie. It's from 2019. But yeah,
Worm?
it's basically, yeah, Worm, WYRM. It's so like, and basically like it's set in the 1990s, and it's like this dystopian world where like kids have like a collar locked around their neck, and they can only be released once they get like their first kiss. So it's like a weird comedy, sci-fi dystopian. I don't know. It wasn't terrible. It has a 3.4 out of 5 on Letterboxd on average.
Oh, it's got the guy who's in You and the Pipeline film, Tyler. It's got that
yeah.
guy in it, hasn't it? Yeah. I know.
But he's like barely in it.
Josiah would have that collar around his neck all the time.
Yeah, that's no doubt.
Why are you calling
No
out our
doubt.
boy like that?
I'm hoping he's listening to this.
Yeah,
missed-
shout out
I missed
Josiah
that
if you
one.
made it. Yeah, it's
Assuming
okay.
You're right, George.
It was a joke that Josiah's never kissed a girl.
No, that was weird.
Oh, you just John Wick 4-ified it. You just explained it right to us.
Yeah.
Just trust your audience, George. Trust your
anything,
audience.
So I appreciate the explainer, but
All right, let's get into our draft at this point. But before we get there, shout out to everyone who's subscribed to our Patreon. Go check out the link in the description to see all the different tiers. We have a lot of things coming out related to our Patreon. We have our Q&A coming out shortly. We have every week we have Patreon sponsored drafts and movie reviews, and they get all this content early. We've been recording a lot more on Saturdays lately, just based on our schedules. So sometimes patrons are getting these episodes like 2 full days early. They're getting real quicks like a week early. So go check it out. Also, patrons are going to get discount codes to our merchandise, which I promise this week I'm going to get up our first ever pieces of merch, and I'm probably going to be pushing those out to Patreon first, just to kind of get some first reactions to it, and kind of use the Patreon to try and get people to say like what they like, what they don't like. So if you have certain merch you want us to get out, go check out our Patreon. But today's movie franchise draft is inspired by John Wick. Basically, we kind of agreed at the beginning of this pod before we started that this is just any movie franchise that has more than 3 movies in a series. So a trilogy would not count, but kind of like Cam was mentioning before we started the pod, John Wick 4 kind of cemented it as a franchise as opposed to, like a trilogy. So at that point, it gets the franchise moniker. So anything that has 3 plus, over 3 movies in the series. The order we're going to go through today is Cameron, George,
Perfect.
Tyler, Seth, and I think we all know where Cam's going to go with pick. Well, I mean, Technically, I think there's two that a Cam would go between, but I think there's one he's for sure.
No,
gonna get,
I think there's one that's very clear, and it's what I'm watching right now. It's the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah,
that had to be your number one pick.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I thought it was going to be. I thought there was one other you might do.
Here's the thing. John Wick, and I haven't done this math. I want to make a video. John Wick may be the best franchise ever. Like in the sense of like high rated movies. If you take so if you take all the Lord of the Rings, they're very high rated. But if you also take the Hobbits, they may bring it down. Like John Wick, for me at least, they're all 4.5s and 1.5 at this point.
I think
maybe the best.
I didn't know they were that high for you.
Yeah, they're all.
No, I think actually John Wick 2 may be a 4. I don't know. I didn't rewatch them. But I'm just saying, like, it's a damn good franchise, but it's not my favorite. So this I'm gonna pick my favorite.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm going Middle Earth with my second pick. I'm sorry.
Do you know, like when you made a massive thing last week about me not taking Puss in Boots, and I didn't take Puss in Boots.
Okay, but like,
and now you've taken Middle Earth.
Middle Earth, there's a very big difference between those two picks. Like, I'm not gonna take it.
Disgusting. That's disgusting.
Stop it.
I may honestly. So sorry. I have John Wick Chapter 3 the lowest at a 4 out of 5 or an 84 out of 100.
The lowest out of all 4.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I may have to rewatch them because, like I said, I didn't rewatch them for this week. Maybe I will because I
think John Wick 3 is really
people love it. Yeah, people love it.
Yeah, I think the correct ranking, the undisputed ranking of John Wick movies is 4, 3, 1, 2.
Mine's 4, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I am in agreement. 4, 3, 1, 2.
4, 3, 1. It's the right.
4, 3, 1, 2.
ranking.
4, 3, 1, 2.
It's objectively right. I got the third pick here. We talked about this one before the pod. I guess it's okay. I'm going just MCU.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
fine. So at first we were like, oh, you have to break it up to like, the Avengers movies or whatever. But
yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like that text, George.
Oh.
I feel like that.
I mean, that just, I don't know.
There are a lot more franchises, man. There might not be great movies, but there are a lot more franchises. You can get
You're
deep
absolutely correct.
You can get deep.
There's genuinely so many franchises. Like when I started this, I was like, I think there will be just enough for all 5 or for all 4 of us to get 5 picks. But then I started doing my research. I was like, no, we got so many franchises. Seth, you get back-to-back picks here. A lot of meat left on this board. What are you doing?
Can I go Batman?
I think we determined now it's got to be like DC EU or DC
the Batman.
EU.
Did you not consider like
but the Batmans don't carry through to
that's
each
what
other.
that's
they
what we that's what we
on the lists I was looking at the top.
No, I understand that, but that's what we decided. We said no Spider-Man. Now you got to take like MCU.
All right, I'll go
franchise.
I'll go Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think
great
that had.
I thought that would be your
had to
first.
be
I
round
thought that
one.
would be your first, anyways. To be
No, that Batman was going to be my second. I just wanted to check.
I think that had to be top 4.
Oh man. But there's okay. Do you know what?
What?
No.
I'm gonna go Toy Story.
Damn you, bastard!
Yeah.
Wow, that's an interesting.
What I was
Interesting.
There is some
Great
which
pick.
have higher highs.
I mean,
but all 4 films are
Not
really
a single
good.
one misses. It's
Yeah,
simply-
especially the first
I think,
3.
I think
Lightyear misses.
Oh
Yeah.
shit!
Oh, wait.
that's in
I
it
mean,
now.
no,
I've
Lightyear
seen
does
it.
not
Okay.
miss.
Lightyear misses.
I don't think
First
Lightyear's a
three-
miss.
the
I think
first 3
Lightyear
Toy
is
Story
not as
films.
good. What do I?
The first 3 Toy Story films are that good.
Yeah,
No, even the 4th.
Wow.
No, Toy Story is absolutely a franchise that
Story's
should be a
4
top
is
2
really
round pick, in my opinion, in this draft. So
you have it at a 2 out of 5. That feels low. I have it at 3.5. Lightyear.
Lightyear.
Oh, not me.
I
Yeah,
thought it was
Tyler.
a
I'm talking to Tyler.
my next pick.
George and I have it at 3 out of 5. George and I.
I'm so curious where Tyler's going to go with this.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a lot tied here for where I want to go with this, but I'm gonna go with.
Tyler always comes in with the sneaky picks.
Yeah, I don't know how sneaky this will be, but I think it's genuinely like the only franchise that just really hasn't missed for me, and that's John Wick.
Yeah, it's a good pick. That's a great pick.
That'll get votes because it's just come out.
And yeah, it just came out. I think
we know how that works when things like relevant.
Yeah, Tyler's won this draft.
Yeah.
I don't know. We have a lot of MCU
Yeah,
haters.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Mother's ass, bro. That was gonna be my next pick. So I'm a little, a little torn right now. I'm a little torn. I feel like fuck, man, you really just ruined my plan here.
Interesting.
It's oh god, it's so annoying. You're so annoying, man. All right, I'm gonna take. I just.
Really?
I'll take Mission Impossible.
Really? Wait, what? You
Sweet
haven't
ass, I've
seen
seen
one
it.
of them.
So
Yeah, I've only seen 2. Okay.
that's fine. So
Oh god.
I'm impressed. I'm interested by that pick. I'm pretty happy with my picks in the sense. I don't think they're very great, but well, one of them's pretty great. I'm gonna take Indiana Jones. The second.
Yeah, that was on there for me.
The first 3 are really from great to really good, and then the 4th is kind of a dud, but I think it's
Do you
fine.
think Temple of Doom's really good?
I have it at a 83 out of 100 or something like that. Like a 4 out of 5. The other 2, I think
The other
one,
2 are
Raiders is like a 98, and then Last Crusade is like a 94. It's right there. So, and then next I'm going to take, and most of these aren't great to be quite honest with you, but I'm going to go with Jurassic Park.
Good pick. I think
the first Jurassic Park's really good.
Interesting.
I think the first Jurassic World is very
good.
good.
The first Jurassic World
is pretty good.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty good.
The first
and
Jurassic
then,
Park will get votes because it's just that iconic, though, isn't it? The first one.
Yeah, well, I think the thing about franchises, I think a lot of these I have on my list are like kind of stinky. As like, there's a lot of stinky movies in them, but I think franchises.
If the highs are that high,
right? When you just say the franchise name, as long as there's like one standout movie in it, people are gonna be like loving it. So George, next pick.
I'm between 2 right now, but I feel like everyone's on a nice high since it was just released, and I'll take the Rocky / Creed.
Yeah.
Are we counting them as one universe?
Yeah,
I would say so. Yeah.
Rocky, yeah.
So just for your own sake, when you make the graphic, I would try to make sure to get like some Rocky and Creed in there, and for the pick and make it clear. But that obviously has to be picked in top 3 rounds, in my opinion. Oh shit, it's me now. I'm going to go with James Bond.
Now, are we going the entire?
I think you get everything.
Yeah, you have to
get everything. You're James Bond.
Everything.
You're going Sean Connery. You're going Daniel Craig. You and all of them.
I don't think. Yeah, I think you just find a little pick when you're making the graphic, and I'll try to do this when I make the.
Well, I'm just saying because on my if he hadn't picked, my next pick was going to be Daniel Craig's James Bond.
Nah, you're getting too niche. That's not the franchise. The franchise is James Bond.
James Bond.
Especially because the James Bonds like aren't.
Okay,
technically like rebooted, right? Because there's like someone dies and someone else takes 007.
I see what you're saying,
but then you can say the same thing about Batman. Batman is the franchise.
No, the franchise is DC.
I agree with George. I'm taking Batman.
I feel like we're getting into interesting territory.
I'll just take Daniel Craig's James Bond then if you want to pick Sean Connery or whatever.
No shot.
If I'm taking James Bond, I'm for sure taking the Daniel Craig James Bonds.
Yeah, then it doesn't matter because I'm not taking it.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever.
You don't have to say who it is. You just put a picture of Daniel Craig if you want. But
you can just put a 007. That's literally all you need.
Yeah.
007.
Put the logo or something.
Seth, back-to-back picks.
For the strength of the first 2 films, and also one of the recent ones, I'm gonna go the Alien franchise.
Had to be picked.
And then. For my 4th pick, I'm gonna go for the Shrek franchise.
Yeah,
that's including.
I love that pick.
Yeah,
that includes Puss in Boots.
I love that pick. Actually,
I like that pick too.
See, Cap, 2 animated franchises on my draft.
This guy.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I like that pick.
Okay. Next pick here, I will go with one of the more consistent franchises, in my opinion, that also was renewed this year, Scream.
Yeah,
that's fair. It is Mr. Consistent.
One pick. I'm like actually in utter shock that I'm gonna get 2 of the ones that I want.
I think I know.
I don't know. I'm caught between 2. I think Cam is gonna take one of them, but so I'm gonna take of the 2. Oh, give me Bourne.
Yeah, that's next on my board.
Okay.
George, I'm so surprised you've not taken this franchise unless you're holding out.
You're giving me options here, which is crazy.
I feel like I'm missing something now based on Cam and Seth's confidence. I feel like I'm just like
you're giving me wild options. But again,
it's
not like they're great movies, but they're great franchises
And
that people like. But I have 3 that I want to pick from.
Well, you got
Well, you can't. Got 2 picks.
I know. So one, I think the best of these 3 that I want to pick, I'm going to take the X-Men franchise.
Yeah. That's what I was between Bourne and X-Men.
Yeah, so that's probably has like the most consistent movies outside of a couple. Actually, no, it's got actually a
Does
lot
that
of
include like Logan and stuff? It does, doesn't
I
it?
would say it does. It's
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I made an X-Men ranking the other day and didn't include, and I included the Wolverines and didn't include Deadpool, and I felt like an idiot.
Deadpool?
Yeah, he's an X-Men, and he also has cameos of X-Men in his movies. That's like the joke. I think there's one franchise that consistently does a little bit better than the other, so I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with Transformers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's a great franchise. I think it's the franchise is like a solid franchise, but the movies individually aren't great.
Yeah, people like it. I think it'll get some votes.
Yeah, I think I'll do well.
I don't hate Transformers, but I'm probably the lowest on them actually. So I take my
No. I'm definitely the lowest. George, your next pick.
Yeah, listen, this franchise has some absolute poopers, no doubt about it. Some absolutely doo-doo films, but I love 3 of them way too much to not pick the DCEU.
I like that.
I
think it has to get picked. I think if we went this draft with
I'm kind of upset with you.
Why?
I don't know. I thought this would be really high up for you. Maybe it isn't. Maybe
Which one? What
you're probably like Halloween or something.
Well, it's a horror franchise, George. It's a horror franchise.
Oh, Evil Dead?
Yeah.
Oh, nah.
Are you not really high on them? I thought you were.
I'm high. I mean, I have Evil Dead 2 at a 4.5, Evil Dead at a 4.
There's one that's still not getting picked that's in the top 10 of
I thought you were
like
higher
list
on
I
them.
We still have 2 picks left, and I'm going to go next here. So I'm going to go with... So, are we counting something as a franchise if it has 4 movies, but one of the movies is a part 1, part 2?
Yes,
of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I'll do Hunger Games.
Nice.
Which, it is a franchise because there's a whole nother like movie coming out.
Yeah, there's a whole other series coming out.
Yeah, okay, I don't know what I was thinking there.
Man, the first 2 Hunger Games movies are really good, and I think
Which is the best one? Is it Catching Fire?
Catching Fire is the best one, without a doubt.
Yeah, I haven't seen them in years.
Catching Fire also gets a TikTok cameo. Very epic.
What?
Yeah.
That woman,
her like tick is like TikTok
the entire time.
Oh, right.
Product placement be crazy these days. Seth, your final pick of the draft.
8 years earlier or whatever it was. I know Seth isn't gonna pick the franchise in between, but I'm shocked it didn't get picked at all.
I'm probably between 2. I'm gonna go for what I think. I'm between 2, so I'll go for the one that might get the most votes purely because of the first 3 films. So can I just say I think the first one has aged so finely.
Oh yeah, I
and
know
that's
the
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Man, that's what I was thinking.
5 are so bad.
So bad.
I know Cam agrees with me on this.
Horrible.
But the first 3, especially the first 2, are great.
No, I disagree. But,
really?
Yeah, I think there's a heavy.
Yeah, if we're picking Transformers, then Pirates of the Caribbean has to be picked.
Yeah.
No, that I was talking about, Seth. On like, I was certain you weren't gonna pick it, but I forgot you just tweeted about it.
I love especially the first one.
The first is so damn good. I have it at a 90 out of 100. It's so damn good.
It was between that and Evil Dead or the Hannibal Lecter franchise.
Yeah.
I saw that stretches across like 5 or 6 films.
And a TV show.
Yeah.
On a TV show. Well, would that be? I guess. Yeah.
I would have counted that.
So Seth, I have the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbean, a 90, 70, and 54. And then
wait, you have the second one at 70.
Yeah, it's not a good movie, but I'm not high on it.
Dead Man's Chest.
Bro, Dead Man's Chest is better than 70.
People see the clip of Davy Jones.
Wait, you have World's End of what? You have World's End of what?
54 out of 100. The movie's kind of bad. But what are my next 2 rankings? If you had to guess,
star. Like 10 and it's like 10 and 12 or so. I have a 1.5.
It's a 9 and an 8.
That's harsh. That's too harsh.
Those movies are bad, man.
They are bad. I agree. I have like a 1.5. They are bad.
Yeah, that's
Twilight series was snubbed. Sonyverse was snubbed.
Ooh,
Twilight was not snubbed.
I mean,
Twilight wasn't.
I was
Twilight
saying that
snubbed
tongue in
from a
cheek.
pick-
Okay. I was like, come on.
Twilight was a snubbed from a picks verse. Like people would pick it, I feel like.
Maybe.
Nah, we
If
don't
we
have-
had
I
more
don't
of a
think we have
female audience.
Yeah, I don't think we have that large of a female audience.
Despicable
George,
Me
can you
was-
Well, I'll
recap?
tell you
Oh,
what,
Despicable
I know
Me,
there's some
maybe. Yeah.
stinkers. There's some stinkers, but the first ever, and obviously the recent trilogy, Planet of the Apes movies are good.
Ooh,
The first Planet of
that
the
was a
Apes
snub,
movie.
I'd say. The Planet of
The
the
first
Apes.
Planet of the
was-
Apes movie
That
was
is a
great.
snub.
So this
But why would we not have separated those out?
Because they're the same
because
thing.
the Planet of the
It's the
Apes
same
is
Planet
a
of the Apes, same
franchise.
thing.
It's the franchise. You're an idiot. You're
I'm
an
just
idiot.
saying.
George, can you recap our
so
picks?
mad at George
I'm
right
just
now.
saying. I'm just saying. Someone could have picked Batman, and that would have been cool. I'm just saying. Cam took Mid Wars, Indiana Mids, Jurassic Mids, X-Men, and Transform Mids. George.
Why
took
was
Middle-
X-Men the only one that didn't get a mid? When it's the easiest to make an X mid right there. It's laid out
I'm
on a
sorry,
platter
all right,
for you.
fine. Cam took Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, X Mid, and Transformers. I took Middle Earth, Mission Impossible,
Mid.
Rocky Creed franchise, Jason Bourne franchise, the DCEU, Tyler, the MCU, John Wick, James Bond, Scream, and Hunger Games. Seth took Harry Potter, Toy Story, Alien, Shrek, and Pirates of the Caribbean.
Rip to Fantastic Four. Fast and Furious. Like, rip to that.
I mean,
No one's
No,
picking that.
respectfully. Good thing they didn't make it on. So
I'm happy that Star Wars, Middle Earth, MCU, Harry Potter went 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like that had to be 1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't know if I had the fourth pick in those first three. I don't know what I would have picked because, like, I probably I may
Harry
have gone
Potter,
Indiana
man.
Jones instead
Harry
of
Potter.
Potter.
Over Harry
Had-
Potter.
Harry Potter is
I'm not as high on Harry Potter.
I know, but
like
over
it.
Indiana Jones, like
Okay, I don't know.
the four
In-
films.
I'd say.
Did you like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? I feel like you did.
No.
no.
Oh, you
I
didn't?
don't know.
Okay.
I think I have it like maybe a 2.5.
Oh, so yeah, okay, fair enough. And you
That's a-
still go over Harry
No,
Potter?
I have it at 2. 40 out of 100.
Harry Potter bodies Indiana Jones. That does it for
That's
episode
probably
29
true. That's
of,
probably true. Maybe I
of
would have.
the Real Talk podcast. This episode was brought to you by our executive producers. So shout out to all these awesome patrons. We have Al Bodie, Mac Wells, Marcellus, Mike Ludi, Remy Walker, Seven Mod Jeffy, Ben Hansey, Benjamin Vetch, Bram Vitz, Cameron Volker, Dean Katamanidis, Ferdinand 04, John Anderson, Jordan Gag, Reese David, Tobias Johnson, Will Kim, and Eunice BBX. Shout out to all of you for being the executive producers of today's episode. That does it. Real Talk episode 29. Stay tuned for the couple of real quicks we have coming this week. We have a directorial debut draft, Q&A, and Last Black Band in San Francisco review. Have a great rest of your Monday. Peace.